Nail and COVID, welcome. Parth and Josh, welcome. Good morning. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a little bit. We want to keep those ones. Chino and Abby, good morning. Okay, keep that one. Pear and Justin, Captain Kirk, welcome. Sorry, gotta get situated. How are you doing, guys? All right, give it another minute or two. So, this is, I don't know if you've seen these posts up on all my social media. I usually do Welcome Ireland. I usually do one, just a post like that. I do a voiceover with some reflection questions. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Christopher, welcome. So I post them on all of my social media, and then for 2 days, I call it bite-sized pieces, right? And with my daughter, it's always been 3 bites. The first 2, you're going to argue just for being stubborn, and then the next one, the third one, you're going to decide if you like it or not. So that's kind of what I like to do. I'm doing really great. I've been working hard, getting a lot of stuff done, and I brought all my lovely talking points. So in the beginning, we're just going to talk about this part of the Fire and Flow series. And we're going to do a little, I want to say backtrack, but it's mostly like kind of going over the ones that we already discussed. So, and then at some point, you'll be able to see it on my website. You'll see them all, right? On my website, you can go. So any of the which ones, you can find the replays, or you can just follow me on YouTube and Creativity Guides Me. And oh my God, what's going on? Welcome, Corey. And then at the end, then we'll do some card pulls, and I can do question and answer, some stuff like that. But then it's just about how this theme can be helpful for you. Because basically what we're learning is transmutation in bite-sized steps. I love your nail. I need to do them again. They need to be done, trust me. But we get it done. And I do. I like them. They're short enough I can do things. Welcome, user. Okay, so this one is talking about the medicine within. Again, that's what it sees. If you see this logo, this is my stuff that I've created, and then you'll usually see one here. This is a QR code. If you go to any of my posts with that, if you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to my website. That's where I have guided journals. I have all kinds of healing stuff. I have art. I have teas, handmade teas and tinctures. This is the website, creativityguided.ca. And if you're local, I'll deliver the stuff. If not, I ship. But it's all about being intentional and learning all the things we can do. Joan Fairways. I like that name. Okay, so Oh, it's AI. I'm like, what is that? It's just their little, I don't know what it is. Anyways, so how we're going to understand the medicine within. Each emotion arrives with two gifts: a message, what it's trying to show you, and then a medicine, what it helps us grow into, right? So, I have to. It's getting cold. We're all gonna get yucky with having to not blow our nose, but like just runny noses and feeling like all the good stuff with winter, I guess. Welcome, Trevor. So the first one we talked about was rage. So if we go back there for a moment, that was the medicine of boundaries, right? So part of alchemy or transmutation, however, transformation is. I look familiar. I can't see you, so I'm not sure, but I'm always on here. But anyways, the medicine teaches you boundaries. Something sacred within you has been crossed, right? So that's the message. And then the medicine, rage points to the exact places where your boundaries were ignored, violated, or never taught. So to explain that like a little better, rage isn't here to destroy. It's here to protect you. It shows you like your line in the sand you didn't know you needed. And when you learn to listen, rage reveals your deepest non-negotiables and helps you reclaim the space that's always been yours. So that was the very first one that we talked to. Bob, welcome. I knew a couple Trevors growing up in school, but that's in Canada. Oh, you're from Canada too, so you never know. And then anger, the medicine of enforcement and self-respect. Okay, that was the second one in the Fire and Flow series, which is, this one's number 6, I believe. But anger, the medicine of enforcement and self-respect. So the message is, this matters to me. And then the medicine, anger helps you understand why those boundaries are important and what needs to change. So when rage screams stop, anger whispers, here's why. So they kind of coincide, right? So when we understand these two, they're going to be your first initial response almost always in any situation where there's conflict, right? So when you understand that, then you can say, where it screams stop, anger whispers, this is why. Okay, this is what matters. It helps you enforce the boundaries with clarity instead of chaos. So you're not in fight or flight mode. You're understanding exactly what it's trying to teach you. And it tells you what behaviors will no longer accept, what you will no longer accept, and what standards you're ready to uphold with self-respect. So those two are going to be your first indicators. Okay. Immediately there's something I need to learn. Immediately there's a message. Welcome, Moon Bunny. So when you can understand them and hear what they're saying to you and kind of pause and get curious with it, then you're going to understand where you can move forward, how to move forward, right? And then fear, that comes next, and usually that's the medicine of courage, right? And right action. You're stepping into something unfamiliar, and then the medicine, fear teaches you the action steps. It shows you that what courage actually looks like for you in real life. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's moving with the fear. Fear highlights the doorway you're meant to walk through. It helps you grow the bravery to try, to act, to speak, to move. It guides you towards what's worth facing, right? Welcome, Jade. And then, of course, pain, the medicine of compassion. And when we say this one, sorry, I want to go back so I can show you what this one was, because this one was a little... So the pain is right before the kindness portion, okay? So after we get into fear, there's also this pain. There's this space where you're like afraid to do it. And in that fear, usually comes self-sabotage, usually comes all these negative things, right? And that starts teaching us the medicine of compassion and for others, right? When we're hurt, we obviously don't want to do that to other people. Welcome, Wild. So along the way, that's the most thing that we can teach ourselves, right? So something inside needs witnessing and care. And then the medicine. Pain teaches you how to soften towards yourself and others. Pain is a great heart opener. It gives you the ability to understand others' hurt because you've lived through your own pain. Pain teaches empathy, tenderness, and deep compassion, both inward and outward. Welcome, Paul. And welcome, Truth Crashes. And then kindness. The next one there is kindness. That's this one I was talking about. Okay, and that was the one, the kindness that breaks you open. Okay, kindness is the medicine of receiving. So you are worthy of gentleness. That's the message it's trying to teach you. And then medicine. Kindness retrains your nervous system to receive love, safety, and support. Pain teaches us how to give compassion. Kindness teaches us how to receive it. It reminds us that care is not something you have to earn. It's something you deserve simply by existing. You're automatically, inherently worthy. Sorry, I had to get my papers back together. And then, so that's where we're up to. We got to this space in the transmutation part of it, right? And the next one is the medicine within. So this is why this is the best way. This is the space where you kind of get to sit with it and understand how each step got you. And when we can get to that space, we allow this message to come together with this message to this message to this message, which means each layer gets peeled back. And when we're sitting in this medicine, understanding what each thing was, because sometimes you don't understand it till you're already through it, right? And we don't want to do that. We really want to try and break it down layer by layer. Eventually, it gets quicker. So those layers, you go da 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 da, and it becomes much more easy to do. But in the beginning, understanding how, why, and each tool, what it's doing for you, allows you to do that process a lot faster. Good morning, Shanna. Welcome. So basically, the medicine isn't about avoiding emotions. Listening to them. It's letting each one show who you are, what you need, and what you're capable of. Your emotions are not mistakes, they're messages. Your healing isn't outside you, it's within you. You walk through the dark to learn your own light. So walking through darkness isn't a punishment, it's an initiation. Every difficult moment you survive has shaped your intuition, your empathy, and the way you read subtle energies. The things you once thought were breaking you were actually training you to notice what others overlook. The shift in tone, the tightening in your chest, the nudge in your gut that says, this isn't right, or this is exactly where I'm meant to be. Your intuition isn't random. It was built through repetition, through all the times you had to navigate through situations without clear support, without clarity, or without someone explaining the rules. Your empathy didn't appear out of nowhere. It developed because you understood firsthand what pain feels like. So instinctively soften around others who hold it. You don't want to cause more damage, right? Welcome, Telly. The dark teaches you how to see. The light teaches you what to do with what you've seen. So the body and the heart, they're your teachers. And when we understand that through each level, that's how we understand the medicine within. Okay, and if we listen without judgment, your body speaks long before your mind catches up. A tightening, a sinking, a spark, a pull. This is inner guidance. The heart speaks in images, sensations, and quiet truths. The more we approach these signals with curiosity instead of judgment, the clearer the meaning becomes. Judgment shuts the door. Curiosity opens it. Your heart is always trying to show you something, what feels safe, what feels off, what feels aligned, and what feels forced. When we stop trying to be strong in the old ways, ignoring, suppressing, rushing past, and instead become strong in a new way, listening, witnessing, allowing, the medicine of each emotion reveals itself naturally. So I'm going to tell you something. I would say, like this last couple months, it's been kind of going on over, but there was an issue, a business issue with another place, and I kept saying, like, you know when you can see if something is going to unfold a certain way. So you're sending messages, you're saying, you know, this needs to go this way, it needs to go this way. I can see this communication isn't being clear. I need understanding. Everything needs to go smoothly. To do that, you have to have your timelines, have this, have that. Everything has to be in order, and there has to be communication for it. And that wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. And then after many times of repeating, then there became a problem because those communications didn't happen. And instead of handling it or being accountable, it created a whole thing. And it got to when you get to that space and you're like, okay, well, I did this. I did my part. I did this. I warned. I suggested. Now what do I do? Now I have to stand up for my boundaries. Okay, I tried to do it. And now it has to escalate. Welcome, Shannon. Good morning. We're not talking about being crazy, but now it's like, no, I gave you the warning. I gave the clear communication. I asked, I did this, I said that. Where's your accountability? I can't be accountable for you too. So when we understand that and we sit in that process and then we literally say, I see something, it's going to play out, right? I see how it's going to play out if it's not handled with care. When you can observe it and then see it actually happening, what are you left to do? You've done your part. You've stood up for yourself. You did your boundaries. You did everything the proper ways. Now what do? You sit back. You let it unfold because you know you've already won. If you're doing something with integrity, when those intuition is telling you this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, and you're listening to them, which the only way you get to listen to them is if you start listening to these other emotions, these other feelings, these other things that are guiding you. You peel back. Why is that? You're not listening with judgment. You're listening with curiosity, and you're saying, what is that trying to tell me? And then how can I move forward from a better place, right? And when it gets to a certain space, at first I started to get a little irritated, a little this, but it's like I already knew. So then I got to the space and I'm like, well, I already saw this web, and I saw this one, and I saw this one up here and up here, and I'm literally watching it unfold because I said this is going to happen if this doesn't happen, and this and this. So it's the communication was always there. They chose not to do that. That becomes not my problem, and now I have to sit back and watch it unfold because it involves me, not in a bad way. It just involves me, as in I was a customer. But those things, when you communicate those things and you know you've already done the right steps, you don't have to worry anymore. Welcome now. Good morning. I think Alex popped in too. Welcome. And the whole thing that I'm trying to teach everybody is when we understand each emotion and we can peel it back with curiosity. We're not judging ourselves. We're sitting in it. And there comes a space when you get to that compassion, okay, the kindness that breaks the heart open, and then when you let that light in, when you let the light shine through the cracks, you create a space of loving compassion for yourself and for others. But loving compassion doesn't mean you let people walk all over you or mistreat you or any of those things. Loving compassion means, okay, I understand that there's a mistake, there's something that's gone wrong. I have done my part, and I have I'm now leaving it to you to do your part. And if you're not doing your part, you know how this works, right? It's going to escalate. If you're not doing it, something has to escalate. And I'm not saying in a, some craziness ways, but you have to protect yourself. You have boundaries, right? And understanding with that compassion and that kindness, you're not going for the throat because a company messed up. Say they give you the wrong meal. Are you going to go in and freak out? Throw the food at them? No, you're going to be like, hey, I got the wrong stuff. Can we change it? There's going to be ways where you have compassion. The people working from there, you're not going to mistreat them. So that's what I'm trying to say. When we get to a space where we've gone through all of those emotions, that each one has taught us something. That's the medicine each time. And then the space of compassion and the kindness that opens your heart, you're releasing the negative stuff, but you're keeping the medicine. You're keeping the message, and you're keeping the intentions behind it. Bloop, bleep, bloop. Interesting. Welcome. So when you understand that, you're taking the lessons and you're using it to guide you forward. You're not doing anything but that. That's interesting. Someone with that exact name keeps going onto my internet. Interesting. Arima, welcome. Come on back. Don't worry. So yeah, it's one of those things, the medicine within, it just allows us the space of learning, understanding, and we can't be upset or worried because we already have learned each of the lessons. So now we move forward, we know what we have to do accordingly, and we trust our guts. Arima, welcome. I think I already said that, but so here's just a general story to kind of give comparison. Imagine you're walking into a cafe. You've never been there before. One moment you step inside, the moment you step inside, something in your chest tightens. The people seem friendly enough, the room looks fine, but your body gives you a quiet no. You don't judge it, you just notice it. So you step outside and choose a different place. Later you find out that cafe has a history of being unsafe or chaotic inside. Your body knew before your mind did. That's what I mean when I say your heart and body are teachers. The intuition you build through difficult experiences becomes a compass. It's not dramatic, it's not mystical, it's practiced awareness. This story is simple, neutral, and relatable. It teaches the point without referring to any personal things, right? We don't want to take judgment on somebody or a place or a person in time, but the thought of walking in somewhere and saying, oh, it's not a judgment. There's a big difference. We're not judging any of those people in there. We don't know anything about it. But something in our gut says that could, I don't feel safe. I don't feel good here. You don't know why, but you can keep going through there and then sit in the middle of chaos, or you can leave and you can follow where your gut is telling you. Maybe you have a place where you're supposed to meet someone with a special message for you. Good morning. I don't know what your name is, and I'm sorry, but welcome. So when we can understand that and we trust our intuition, there's no judgment, there's no release. It's just, I've learned because I've taken the medicine from each one of these steps and I carry that lesson, I carry that understanding. So each time this trigger or this feeling comes out of me, I know right away to get curious. Why? What is it? What's happening? Why? What? When? Where? Why? The same things. Just get present. Understand what's happening in the surroundings. And then understand the tools that you've already learned for that. So when you get to that reflection space, that pause space, you allow yourself to understand the medicine within, and then you get to move forward from that space. I know this lesson. I know that trigger. I know what that is, and I know what I can do to stop that. I know what I can do to behave differently than allowing that trigger to get you, right? So these are some questions that we can kind of ask ourselves. I kind of want to keep it pretty simple because it doesn't have to be all of them. But if we can get curious with one or two, and this will happen in any one of the steps, right? So if you use any of these and replace it, what are you learning from your pain? What are you learning from your anger? What are you learning from your fear? It doesn't have to be the thing, but if you can ask that question in whatever level it is, you're automatically processing, which means you're not going to get stuck on that level. You're going to keep processing, which means no matter what, even if it takes you a little bit to understand what it is, you're giving space for that. So you're automatically showing up with self-love, self-care, because you're giving yourself space to understand that. And you're not giving yourself a space of judgment. Good morning, William. How are you? I don't write people on private chat, especially not on here. I'm not here for private chatting people. I'm here to give my messages. I'm here to make friends. But we talk on our comment sections because I believe in transparency. And every time I go to private chat, somebody has some sugar baby or some weird thing. And that's just an energy drain that I refuse to do that. So that's not going to happen, respectfully. If you want to talk, you're going to spam it. Perfect. Appreciate it. Have a good day. So here are some questions that I really want you to focus on when you're focusing on the medicine within. Each one of these sections, no matter what happens, if you can focus it and kind of ask these general questions, just get curious questions, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. What are you learning from your pain right now? Very simple. What's it teaching you? Okay. What part of you is ready to guide, not hide? We're not trying to hide. We're not trying to make ourselves small. We're trying to stand tall in who we are, and we don't have to worry about anything else. If you're standing in your authenticity and you're not hurting other people, then you have every right to do whatever it is that you want, right? What medicine is this moment offering you before you react? So which step is it, right? Where are you at? Are you at the rage part? Have they pissed you off to that point? Are you at the anger point where, okay, I'm not ready to kill somebody. I'm just ready to focus on myself and figure out why that made me so angry. So now I'm trying to see what that instant rageful reaction taught me. My boundary was crossed, but why? Why does that one make me care so much? Why is that boundary so important? So now you get to a space where you're like, okay, I understand why. So now the next time I have to communicate something, I can be very clear in this, what matters to me. And now I know what action I need to take when that's happened. Because now you've already moved past it because you processed it. Okay, what happened? Why? How do I move forward? Right? So now you're creating action steps every step of the way. That's how you transmute. That's how you alchemize all these things. You don't have to fight fire with fire. You don't have to spit back. You don't have to do those things. You just have to understand and move accordingly. You don't have to worry about what they're doing. It's not your business, right? But if you're standing, keeping your side of the street clean, standing in integrity in your own space, and learning, listening, and understanding yourself, so trusting yourself along the way, then you create that space. It's always going to be a safe space, and that pause, it will become less and less. You won't need this huge pause because you've already, you know that rage stage, you know the anger, you know the fear, you know all of these things already. You understand compassion. So now sometimes you can go right from rage to compassion because you understand that you already know. We know rage is not an answer. We're not trying to kill people, but and so immediately it drops down to anger. So we're angry. Why? Okay. Now, anger is automatically a thing for fear, right? It comes because of fear. So what is the fear it's trying to teach me? So once you get to there, okay, well, is that fear something that is going to hurt me? Like, am I going to be physically hurt? Am I in immediate danger right now? No. So that fear goes away. So if I had courage, what would I do? And if it was my friend, what would I do? Would I treat them with the kindness and compassion that I would hope for? Of course. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome. So it's very quick for you to go from rage to that kindness and compassion because you're seeing, you're already understanding rage isn't the answer. So you process these, you take those medicines very quickly, and then when you get to this space, when you immediately ask that question, you start from a place of compassion. That means you allow yourself the space to say, nope, that's not the answer, that's not the answer. I know this medicine, I know this tool, I know this. Where does that leave me? And how do I move forward? Welcome, Sagittarius. So what medicine is this moment offering you before you react? What emotion has been your greatest teacher so far? I'm great. How are you? We're doing a little recap. This one is the medicine within. So where we have gotten to in all of the emotions from my content going from before, this is like a reflection moment, kind of understanding that space. Once we get to the compassion for ourselves, which the light through the cracks, we're releasing all this negative stuff. That was the last live I did. This one is telling you in this space where we're at, we're taking the medicine, we're taking the lessons, and we're leaving all the other crap, right? Because each time we understand the medicine, we're moving forward with another tool in our belt to protect us along the way. And to protect us from not a hideaway space, this is my boundary and I have every right to protect it. And how am I going to protect it? How do I move forward? But how do I remain open with kindness and compassion and without judgment to others and myself? So how can you honor what it taught you today, even in a small way? When you get angry, what does it teach you? Can you understand to yourself what it's trying to show you? When you can understand that, you give yourself that space. You've already given yourself another tool in your belt, because now the first thing you're going to say is, why am I so angry about this? You're not going to judge yourself. You're just curious because you can't want to understand why that made you so angry. So once you understand it, it kind of takes the fear out of it, right? Like, you know why you're angry, so you know what your next step has to be. So it removes fear and creates a space of courage. Welcome, Minnie. So, where do you feel your inner light guiding you next? So that's your intuition, right? When you come back to your space, the medicine space that says, I have all these tools, I'm now in a calm space because in the present, here and now, I'm safe. Everything is okay. I am not in danger. We're not coming from survival mode. We're coming from a place of kindness and compassion, first for ourselves, and in turn, everyone else out there. So when we get to that space, it's a lot easier to say, okay, what is my intuition trying to tell me? What are the signs? What is that voice in my head? What is that thing saying when I move forward from kindness and compassion and with all these tools in my belt, what is my next step? And then when you start listening and honoring that inner light, you allow yourself the space to trust your gut and say, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm guided here. That's the way I'm going to go. And that's how it is. And you trust yourself. Nobody's going to make you waver because you already know. You've already seen it. You've already felt it. You know that this is the step towards safety. And that's the most important thing that you can know. Amoki, welcome. So, what wisdom or medicine is rising in you right now? So if you're feeling compassion, if you're feeling frustration, impatience is also another thing for like fear, anger, and especially coming towards Christmas. We go through that. Once I'm done, this section for December will be the grace and the grind, which is really, really nice. Each month I'll have a new content thing for the whole month, and it will talk about ways that this is all transmutation through all of these things. And when we can learn that these are the same questions, the same space, and just little bite-sized steps, we're already winning. Welcome, Michelle. How do you trust your own inner healer? How do you learn to trust your guiding light? Ask yourself that. When you ask yourself, the answer is going to come. And it'll be a flash, a symbol. It'll be something that says, here's a question, and it'll get stuck in your head, and you'll start reflecting on it. It's just a simple reflection, right? How are you today? Oh, Vars, welcome. What message confirms you're on the right path? How do you know when you're listening to your intuition if you're on the right path? Do you follow, like, are you guided by angel numbers, signs, synchronicities? I know that has helped me along the way immensely. But also, what feeling in your body do you feel when you know you've made the right step? Do you feel a calm? Do you feel an excitement because you know that it's a good thing? Do you just feel knowing? There comes a space, I don't even want to say numb, where it's like you don't give a care either way. You just know what you know. It's this inner knowing that, you know, you're not crazy excited. You just know this is a step that has to be taken. And no matter what anyone says to you, you just know that that's the right one because you know the next step. Even though you don't understand why you're going this step, you know the next step is going to be understood. And it's leading you to the next one. And when you get to that space where you completely can trust your inner self, these other tools that you've taken with you along the way become like this. You're like switching out of it. You're taking this complication, this struggle, this irritation, and you're going, oh, well, we're not rage, we're not anger, we're already this. We're down to kindness and compassion for ourselves and automatically to them. You go so quickly, there's no way around it. You're going, oh, well, automatically I know I need to take this step. Fearlessly, right? You're just going to take that step. Thank you. That was really sweet. When you take that step, you say, I know I'm being kind to myself, and I know I'm not going to attack somebody or try to hurt them or hinder their life. Why would you ever want to do that, right? Especially if you wouldn't want it done to yourself. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So these questions, they're very simple, but when you understand that immediately there's no way in this world that you're going to go from rage right away. Like, nobody wants to attack. Somebody does you wrong. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Are you going to go rear end them? No. Like, that's what rage would be, that automatic reaction. when we get to that, and some people do, when you get to that point where you're a boiling pot, it rises and rises and rises, and you can't figure it out, and then all of a sudden you explode, and you've done this crazy thing that you're like, why would I ever do that? Because you didn't know how to get curious. You didn't know how to process. But now you get to a space, I've asked this question. I know that's not the answer. I know rear-ending somebody is absolutely not the answer. So we're not going to do that. But why do I feel that? Why am I so angry about it? So you've already got rid of rage. You've asked yourself, why am I so angry about it? Because the fear, they could have got us in an accident and somebody could have got hurt. That's a validated fear. That's actually something that you have no control over. And not being in control is the fear itself, right? How something could have happened. Okay, so now we've already went down to it, right? Okay, so would I want that done to me? No. Did anybody get hurt? No. Am I safe in this moment? Is everything okay in this moment? Yes. Can I show kindness to this person because I don't know what's going on in their life? Can I not be an asshole and go try to drive up and rear end them? Can I do that? Yes, absolutely I can. Would I want someone to do that to me if I made a mistake? No. So automatically you've gone from rage to one pause all the way down to kindness and compassion because you've learned it so quickly, right? These small little tools. Now, obviously, you're not going to stop stop where you're at and process this. You learn to do it on the go because you've already taken that tool, the curious from rage, the intention from anger, the understanding what it was, and then figuring out what that boundary is and why it's so important, and then the fear, okay, I know why that anger was the fear, right? It's just the reaction, the actual action of fear. So if we cross that out, okay, what's the next step? We want to be courageous. The opposite of fear is courageous, So to be courageous, we have to understand that we all have bad days. We all do things not properly. We all have a struggle. We can't stop and ask them what it is, but we can take that kindness and compassion that we would want for ourselves and just outwardly apply it, right? Without saying, here, walk all over me, here, mistreat me. If they're slamming on the brakes trying to cause an accident on purpose, you understand the difference between those things. So, but immediately you go to self-compassion and in turn, giving it outwardly, right? So you've done 6 already transformations. You transmuted that immediate impulse to something that can be something so wonderful. So that's what the medicine within is, kind of that reflection and understanding that each tool is teaching you, each emotion is teaching you something. And when you take the tool from each emotion and apply it accordingly, you've already transmuted it. Okay, you've already released all that other shit. I'm not going to go up there. I'm not going to go take them off the road. You've released the anger, the rage, all those things, the fear, and understand. So respectfully, I'm just going to say, thank God, nobody got hurt. Thank you so much. And I'm going to move forward, and I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm not going to let it bother my day because I love myself and I love people and I don't want to see anyone else get hurt, right? So it's a nothing burger, but in that moment, to get to that space, you processed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, 6 things, because you released it also. So this medicine within is helping us understand each process and what medicine each of those emotions are teaching us. And then each one of those is a tool. So it's just a little small question, a little curious, a little, is that appropriate? No. And it's not societally appropriate, too. I want to be very clear. Is that appropriate to your moral code, to your moral compass, to what you believe? Okay, to your highest best self, to your inner authority. Because the whole point of all of this is that we're autonomous, right? We're free. And when I mean free, I mean I make my own decisions, good, bad, or ugly. And in turn, I'm fully prepared to be accountable for what happens. If I'm doing the right thing, I can always walk fearlessly because I know I'm not intending harm. If something happens, we're going to fix it immediately. We're going to do our best to stand forward and say, okay, I'm accountable. Something didn't go right. What can I learn from this situation and how can I take this moving forward? Welcome, D. Rose. So understanding that freedom still is responsibility to self, right? And if we're being accountable to self, then we can show up like this, understanding I've already done this process. So I'm not going to go damaging people. I'm not going to go with that intention. I'm not going to go out trying to hurt people because they hurt me. So now immediately you know that when you step out, you're stepping in that balanced line. You're not stepping out, oh, I hate people. Oh, I love people so much, I'm going to let them walk all over me. You're not doing that. Stepping out in a balance, I'm going to treat people with respect the same way I would want to be treated. And it's just very simple. But because you've processed those tools, when something steps out of line or gets out of balance, you automatically know that you have these 6, 7 tools, right? This curious question, this emotion, this pause, this breath, this get curious. Not with judgment, just get curious. What is this showing me? And then when you move forward, you've already got to a place where if I'm still angry, if I still have rage, if I still have any of those things, when you get to the space of the medicine within, you have the tools for them, but you also have a space to focus it. What is it trying to teach me? So if that answer is so much that it can't be fixed in that moment, that means it's something that is just, it's a big thing. It's a very big thing. So now we want to go and we want to teach it. We want to learn it for ourselves. So we're going to channel that rage, that anger, that fear, and instead of using it to hinder ourselves or stop us from understanding, we're going to dig in. We're going to go research. We're going to do this. We're going to do that because it's the driving force. Those are tools. When you take them and not let them be a fear or hold you back, you can channel that anger, that rage, all those things and say, no, I'm going to use this so I learn, so I understand, so I do better. Welcome, Tiffany. So that's what I'm kind of trying to get in this medicine part. We've learned these questions. We've learned these tools. How do we now channel it? And the next one that's coming, so this is the medicine portion, but the next one that will be coming is going to be the fire becomes creation. And that's where we're kind of learning to channel this and what it's teaching us. Welcome, Ahmed. So this is the sitting point here, and there's a couple of them in this one, and it kind of sucks. Because there comes a point in your channeling, when the fire becomes creation, where there's a void. You've had to do your learning, your understanding. You've started to create. You're starting to do really good with the creation and the channeling and all that. But then there's a still point. Because what happens is you got to wait for the world to catch up, right? It doesn't matter what you're learning and what you're understanding. What you're learning is gold. But to share it and understand it, you're still going to do that. You're still going to share it, but you have to wait for the world to catch up. And then you have to understand, I'm in a good space. How do I move forward? The goal is not to move forward in that space. That is the space where you have to give that compassion and that love back to yourself. You have to understand, I've done all the things, and you have to learn to be still. And it is the hardest thing. Trust me, I'm still there. When I tell you I'm learning these things, because this transmutation is something that you're going to use layer after layer after layer. Welcome, Viola. Welcome. So, and in each scenario, this is not something that's a one-time thing. This is something that every time there's a conflict or chaos or something, it's able to take all these tools. And if you can use this whole transmutation series, and you'll see by the end how it channels and how it works to your benefit. If you can see it through and follow those tools. Usually the first 2, 3, 4 tools you get through very quickly, because most of us aren't immediately blowing kettle overboard. But if we're getting to there, we already feel it in our body. So we're already hearing it, we're already listening, and we're already going, okay, I really need to focus on these ones. I really need to understand this thing so I'm not going to explode. Because even just the moment that you say to yourself, I'm not going to explode, trust me, I used to snap all the time. I would just take it in, and then trying to say something, and I'm almost screaming at something. Were Kay and I meant to cross paths in life? I don't know, honey. I will, at the end, if you're still here, I can do that when I start the card pulls. But right now I only do card pulls on certain days. And I also don't ask about other people. So if you ask about something in your life, like, will I get my job? Will I, things like that. How is school going to go? Action steps, things like that. But asking about somebody else, I don't like to do that. I don't want to peek in their curtains, right? So, all right. So now that we've kind of got the questions and understanding the tools, what message confirms you're on the right path, right? Which one of those tools are going to allow you to see, yes, I'm on the right path. I'm already going down here and I've processed this and this and this. So my step out, that's not from fear because it's being stepped out in kindness, right? It's being stepped forward from a place of releasing all of that, but only taking the tools. We take the silver linings, we take the lessons. We don't take the anger, we don't take the resentment. And sometimes you got to sit there for a moment. Sometimes it's not an immediate fix. And you can't get mad at yourself because if you have to feel it to heal it, period. Welcome, Gobi. So you can use a lot of these for journaling prompts, but I'm also going to tell you, good morning, Destiny. As much as I want to say journaling, I also understand that we're human, and most times our brain go a lot faster than we can write or type. So you kind of get lost. You start writing and you're like, oh, hell, I can't get it done. Now I forget what I was doing. Sweet guided one. So we don't want to cause that place. Writing is cathartic, yes. But in those emotions, when you're feeling immediately and you don't know what to do, don't put that stress. I got to write it out. Maybe you do. But in that moment, don't worry on that. Take your voice record. Take your docs, and do your voice record, like on your text messages or whatever. Say what you're saying. Okay, it's not going to be pretty. Voice record is evil. So when you're actually writing it down later, you're going to be like, what the hell was that? And it's kind of good because as you're writing that thing that you got out, you're going to be able to reflect on each thing because there's 4 or 5 different things that are going to come up and you're going to be like, there's no way I would have been able to write that all down. But once you're writing it down later, you give yourself that space to reflect on it. And that small little sentence that you're writing in that one space, you're going to be like, oh, but that's a big deal. So now I'm writing and I'm feeling and I'm processing that emotion as I'm pouring out that one sentence and going deeper into that. So that immediate chunk of whatever you spewed out of your mouth, out of anger, out of fear, out of all of those things, it was important because that's your first reaction, right? So when you can understand that first reaction, you can process it moving forward and understand, how do I get to the next space? What is that teaching? So immediately when you go from rage to anger, now you know what it's trying to teach you. What is sacred about that emotion? What is it telling you about the fear that you're scared of? Because that's what it's always going to boil down to. Whatever that fear is, you're going to come to a space where you say, okay, but is that fear real? Okay, and as you're writing it, and you're getting curious about whatever it was that you said, you know your initial reactions. And you know, like in reality, that's not an acceptable reaction. That's not an acceptable reaction. I'm absolutely allowed to be angry, mad, full of all these emotions, and I'm validating them. But I also know that the reaction should never be as extreme as what I'm wanting to do in that immediate. Because we all, like, someone cuts you off. You're not going to, like, run them off the road, right? Like, we're just being realistic, right? So, but in your brain, immediately, oh, they should just go die, whatever. And I'm not going to lie. When someone cuts me off, at the first moment, I'll be like, oh, man, what the fuck? Right? That's your immediate thing. And then I'll literally, even when I'm driving, I talk to myself. I don't care what people say. I process it. Obviously, that's not an acceptable reaction. I don't wish these people dead. I don't want horrible things for them, right? So your brain and your heart are already processing in one, right? That's heart coherence. When we get to that space, that's where we automatically process the anger, the rage, the anger, the fear, all of those things go right to the kindness, right? We're not trying to hurt anybody, right? And we get to that space, we already know we've used this tool, this tool, this tool, this tool. Sometimes we do it so quickly, we don't understand it. But it's because you're so used to using those tools. Now we got to get to the space where we're used to kindness, showing kindness to ourselves. Usually kindness to others comes much easier than kindness to ourselves, because nobody's a bigger criticizer or judge of us than our own selves, right? So these questions and these curiosities for journaling, they're great for that. They're really good for that because they allow you a space to kind of just get curious. No judgment, just curious. Welcome, user 1970. So this is kind of where I use healing as navigation, right? When you get to that space where the kindness breaks you open and you've sat with the medicine within and you kind of understand, this is almost like, I want to say it's almost like a 0 point, right? It brings you back. Okay, what did this show me? What did this teach me? What am I understanding? Am I being kind to myself? Am I validating myself? Because I have every right to be angry. I have every right to be upset. I have every right to do this, right? So when you validate yourself, you're not saying you're wrong. And I appreciate all of those emotions for trying to protect me. Absolutely. But now, once we get to that kindness, right? The medicine within, that kindness, we can use it as a navigation. We're at that 0 point. We've understood the medicine within. And we want to step out in kindness, right? We want to figure out, first of all, kindness to ourselves. And then inherently, it's going to be turned out to everybody else. But the next one that comes to this is when fire, that anger, that rage, that fear become creation. So it doesn't matter if it's still angry, if it's still sizzling under there. Once you understand to that kindness, we're not going to take that kindness and, that cruelty, the anger and all that, and we're going to spew it out on someone. We're going to get to that kindness. But now we can take that growl, that absolute roar that's deep within us, and that fear, and we can turn that into this big volcano, but we are learning to channel it. All of that energy. So I want to give an example like fear, okay? Fear just as one. Have you ever seen a mother when something happens to their kid, like a shelf tips over and it's a huge heavy shelf and they dive out and they can hold it with one hand and that thing, they get their baby and they get out, right? It's immediate. That's survival. That is a huge, immense amount of power, okay? But we need to learn to channel that from a space where we're safe and where we're doing it in a kind way. Thank you so much. That's kind. And that's what I really want to understand for people. When we can understand that we are allowed to have those feelings, we cannot be mad at ourselves for those feelings. We channel them. That huge amount of things. If you see moms lift cars up off their children, like it happens. There's stories all over the place. She shouldn't be able to do that. That's her baby. She's gonna kill the whole world to try and get it. But instead, she wasn't trying to take that anger out on the person driving. She's trying to protect that kid, right? So that's the first thing she's gonna do. That's her, where you channel all of your things into one space and use that to your benefit, to your creation, to what you're trying to teach. Welcome back, Vars. And Khalil, good morning. So using your inner wisdom as a compass, okay? Healing isn't the finish line. It's just a way of walking, right? Your inner wisdom becomes your compass, and when you stop reacting from old wounds and start responding from grounded awareness, from a space of kindness, from a place where you have these tools that you've been taking with you, you have a space, you have a tool belt, you have something you can pull from that in those moments where you want to explode. When you're saying, no, I'm going to save that energy. I'm not going to let it boil over. I'm just going to save that for a moment till I understand these other 2 or 3 levels. We're going to focus that channel into understanding this level and this level. Man, I still got all this energy because it's not draining me, because I'm actively using it to do something, right? To learn, to understand, to do better, be better. Ultimately is never going to be detrimental, right? It's always going to be beneficial to you, right? So here's always pause. Pause is always going to be the first thing. Okay, we don't react. Never. Just take one breath. And the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, am I in danger? Am I going to die in this moment? Does someone have a gun to my head? Is someone coming chasing me down with a car, and I'm running, Is this an actual survival situation? No. I'm safe here and now. So now in this moment, We don't have to go from crazy fear where we're doing crazy life and death things. We have space. I'm safe. I'm here. I'm now. I've taken this tool, this tool, this tool, and now I can channel this and understand and get curious what it's asking. That pause will save your life. The space where you understand, in this moment, I am not dying. I am not going to die. Even if I fail, I'm not going to die. I am safe in this moment. Good morning, God Smile. So then we're going to ask ourselves, what medicine is this moment offering me? Is it asking me to set a boundary? Is it saying this needs to protect my own self? I need to set this boundary. So I have protection for me. And by the way, a boundary isn't just protection for you. It's protection for you and for those, whoever it is you're dealing with, right? Because now they have a boundary and you have a boundary. And in this middle is a neutral zone. There's no judgment. There's no space. There's no I'm better than you. This boundary, this boundary. Here is a safe space so we can communicate and we can make things happen. And that's where we want to be. So when someone creates a boundary, it's not to hurt you, to embarrass you, to upset you. It's to protect themselves and protect you. It's for both of your protection. So in this space, we're sending it with love, with healing, with compassion, and it's neutral. Nobody's overgiving. Nobody's overtaking. Nobody's overspeaking. They're just listening. They're communicating from a space where neither one feels unsafe, unheard, or uncared about. Those boundaries are the biggest lifesavers, and when we learn to use them appropriately, we don't have to come from a space of fear or reactivity or any of those things on the way down the totem pole, right? Welcome, Francis. So, what medicine is each emotion offering me, right? And then it's asking you to set a boundary? Is it asking you to soften? Is it asking you to just a little bit more kindness than the last time? We really pray for you so that one day. Oh, honey, that's so sweet. And you know, if I had the space, the time, and the funds, you know I would. We all have to get there. And trust me, when I start making money, like truly making money, you'll see. My heart's too big for these things because I would give to everybody. And even I've had to create a boundary for that because I've given to people and places to the point where I've actually hindered my own self. So God actually had to teach me boundaries too, right? What I can't control, I'm always going to want to help, always. But if you can't punish yourself if you can't. Because you know when you can, you're going to. And it's coming a time, and I'm still sharing your stuff. Are you getting more shares and stuff? I know the group 7 thing has been helping. All right, so is it asking you to set a boundary? Maybe. Is it asking you to soften? Is it saying you need to rest? Because maybe you're getting to rage, anger really quickly because you're starting to boil over. Because maybe you've been hiding some stuff, not hiding, but like not dealing with it. I don't have the time to deal with that. I don't have the time to deal with that. I don't have the time to deal with that. And all of a sudden you're up to here and you're like, man, I'm starting to get upset. Because you're piling up. We're not releasing this. We're not getting to that light to understand what it is. So now it's just piling up, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your body so thoroughly that by the time you get there, you have to listen to what it's telling you, okay? And then, is it asking you to rest? Maybe. But it could be asking you to speak up. Have you been holding it back, and allowing these people to walk all over you, and they keep maybe not crossing your boundaries, but they're going right to the edge of it, and they just keep nudging, and they're touching on your personal safety and security, and that's somebody that would be actively doing it. Now it's time to speak up. You keep coming close to my boundary, and I've already let you know what it is. So now I'm saying this is the final straw. Now I'm standing firmly, very firmly for my boundary, right? And those things a lot of times cause fear. Because when you ask somebody, you already let them know what your boundary is, maintaining that boundary and standing up for it is hard to do, clearly. That's why we have to get through all those emotions, all those stages, so that when we do speak up, we're speaking clearly, not from anger, not from anything, just very, very clearly and firmly. this is my boundary. If you continue to cross it, I will be forced to escalate the situation, however that may be. Okay, whether it's walk away, if it's a business situation, take legal action. It could be one or anything, right? But you need to make sure that it is the punishment fits the crime, right? Like, we're not trying to speak up and then because they cross your boundary again, we're not trying to kill people. Like, we want to be realistic. And if it comes to a point where we're feeling that unsafe, then we just walk away. You just have to walk away and say, I'm sorry, I can't continue dealing with you because you keep coming to the edge of my boundaries and making me feel unsafe. And I've asked you and I've asked you, now I have to move forward, assuming that you don't care to change that. And say, I'm sorry, we just don't align. And you move on and you stop communicating. You stop dealing with them at all. And that's okay. And that was the next one, to walk away, right? You have to decide, is this healthy for me? Does them coming right to the edge of my boundary and pushing and making me feel unsafe, is that healthy? No? Walk away for your own sanity. Even if they say you're the villain in the story. If you go on my website, I have a little reflection book that's talked about some of the things I've overcome, how I've overcome them in the last 10 years, which is probably the last 15 years. I didn't go into too great detail, but it's understanding the process. And there's some detail. It's just, I didn't want to, I don't want to trauma dump when we have these conversations. But if you go there, the story is called When the Villain Meant Well. Okay, because there comes a space and time where, especially if people are taking advantage, if they're stepping on you, if they're not treating you appropriately, if they're expecting you to save their lives, but they don't even stand up to save their own, they're draining you. They're just taking from you and they're giving nothing back. So when you understand exactly what's happening, you can say, maybe they don't even recognize that they're doing it. And a lot of self-unaware people don't, right? And in this process, if I can teach more people to be more self-aware, this starts happening a lot less, right? So there may come a time where you have to walk away. Will it be forever? Who knows, right? If they start becoming self-aware and start stepping up and understanding, there may be a space where you come together again. But you can't worry about that, because when you walk away, you're worried about yourself first, right? You're not going to put yourself down, and they definitely must learn to worry about themselves. Because if they can't learn to be self-aware and treat themselves better, then they're definitely not going to treat you better. So understanding when it's time to walk away is a very key part of this, right? For your own protection, for your own sanity, and for your own peace. Because once you get that peace, once you get to that still space where you have that kindness and compassion to yourself and in turn others, man, the amount of things that you can just do in this world, that space, that peace, it's like there's nothing in this world that you'll ever want more. It's such a great, no money can buy it, okay? There's nothing that can get it or achieve it but you. That space inside of you. And when you get there, yes, right? And thank you for that. Sometimes I talk a lot, but I can only do it in bite-sized steps. This is actually how I healed and actively heal every single day when something happens. Just went through chaos this last week, some crazy chaos, and I was reflecting on it the other day, literally saying, like, man, I would have self-sabotaged. I would have just said, oh, the whole, everything's going down. I'm going to fail. And, like, the old me would have done that. But I got to that stage where I'm processing these things, and I'm like, wait a minute. But I already said I knew that this was coming. I said that if this doesn't happen, these things are going to happen. Now, they actually have happened. I literally laid it out, timeline for timeline for timeline, how it was going to happen, and I verbalized it. I said it. I made it very clear, and they still didn't step up their game, right? They didn't do their part. So I had to step up and stand up for my boundaries. And I'm like, where immediately when they pushed back or tried to make me be the bad guy, which I was not, right? I'm like, no. I literally laid it out. I explained it to you. I understood, made it very clear what was happening. I'm not going to let you put that back on me. right? That's where that standing up, that choosing. Okay, so I chose to walk away from the situation. I chose to say, no more. This is it. Cancel the contract, cancel this. We're done, right? Now, this is a neutral space where we're at right now. This is the space where I would have already complained to myself. I would have already put myself down. I would have already said all of these negative things. You didn't right. Maybe you weren't right. Maybe you're just being an asshole. Maybe you're mistreating. And all of a sudden, this space where you're being appropriate and you're saying, no, I've had enough and I choose to walk away, but from a space of peace. Not a space of anger or resentment, a space of peace. Right? Now that's what I learned to do. But before I would have beat myself up. I would have just, I would have been like, oh, it's all going to go to hell. And I would have worried and I would have freaked out. And I literally I was sitting there and I was like, but I've done this and I did that and I processed this and I'm not scared because it is in my favor because I've done everything the right way with integrity. So now I took all of those steps, moved forward accordingly. I stood up for myself and I said, I'm walking away. Now, what can I do? Am I going to sit here and worry about it? No. The ball's in their court. If they do something again outside of that and come back and try to push back again, then it will have to escalate in a legal manner, right? Like not in a physical manner, because we're not going to do face-to-face where we're going to get violent or threatening. We don't do that, right? And we don't want to be in that situation. And when we're in that situation, immediately just walk away. Just walk away. Don't just shut it down immediately. You go from anger, rage, all of the things, you walk away. Because you know what people hate the most? When they're trying to cause conflict and make you upset and make you freak out and put you in fear. And you say, yeah, no, I'm not going to participate in that. Thank you so much. Man, you want to see people get pissed off? And it's not about pissing them off. It's just about, no, you're not taking my peace. I worked way too hard for that. I wish you the best. I'm sorry you feel that way. And I will be the villain in your story. I'm okay with that. It's never going to hurt my heart. I don't wish you bad, but I'm not hanging out for this. Sorry, right? It's a beautiful feeling. And when you walk away and you do it properly, that empowerment, not just that peace, that empowerment literally obliterates fear. It obliterates it. There's no more. I've done everything. I've been in integrity. I've stood tall. I respected my boundaries and respected theirs, which I didn't even have to do at that point. But because I show compassion to myself and automatically, inherently to other people, I respected their boundaries too, right? So there comes a space where you just know. And this medicine space is saying, I know I've done all the right things to this point. Now, whatever I'm feeling, I'm going to channel that energy and I'm going to keep it. And I want to learn. Do I want to teach with it? Do I want to show? Do I want to share? Do I want to make art? Do I want to create clothes? Whatever it is that guiding light is telling you to channel it on, is to teach you something, to guide you towards your purpose, to guide you towards what you're meant to share. And that's all I want to teach people, is how to get to that space in bite-sized steps. So just by asking a question and getting curious, you're actually learning how to do that alchemy, that transmutation that everyone talks about, but nobody quite says. You know, everyone's got $1,000, $10,000 course that you could do, and maybe it's not going to work. Or maybe you can just do it yourself. And I had to do it myself. I didn't have help. I didn't have anything. I had to just sit in the messiness. And mine wasn't as linear as this, right? This is, and nobody's is linear. Let's be very clear on that, okay? And welcome, Jessica. I wasn't ignoring you. I just talk a lot. But it's not linear. And it's okay if you go up and back and forward and sideways. It's okay. That's the space where we're learning that kindness, right? My journey was, 1 step forward, 10 steps back, 3 sideways, a backflip, a cartwheel, a belly crawl, and it was just absolutely a disaster. But the one thing that I learned about myself is it doesn't matter what comes. It doesn't matter what comes at me. It doesn't matter in any space, way, shape, or form. I've learned that there's nothing that's going to get me out of my peace. Even if you upset me for a moment, I'm going to be like, okay, I got here. Why am I here? We're not going to do this because something's being crossed. Okay, so let's focus on what's being crossed. How do we move forward? Why is that fear? What is the step? How am I going to say this properly in a way that's saying what I need and still maintaining my boundary, right? So automatically I go from this space to da 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 da, move forward, right? And that's what I'm trying to teach people. When you have these tool belts and these questions and this curious and this compassion for yourself in this middle space, you're winning. You're immediately winning because you already know what to do. And when you move forward, you know, I've been through this step, this step, this step, this step. This is my answer. I fearlessly am moving forward, no matter what it is, because I'm doing it with integrity. I'm doing it with heart. I'm doing it with kindness and compassion to myself and others. How can you lose? God's not going to let you lose. The universe isn't going to let you lose. The universe is going to say, I got you. You may have to learn a lesson or two along the way, but when you do things in integrity, those lessons become just a little bit more easier. And if they are hard ones along the way, it's a lot of times because of our thinking, because we're in the worry, we're in the this. And that's why processing all that other stuff to get to that move forward in faith, right? In being fearless, in understanding. It's not even faith, it's a knowing. I've done this, so my next step, I'm moving forward with integrity. You're not going to lose. You cannot lose. Patch, welcome. So that's what I mean by the healing is navigation. Okay, using your inner wisdom as a compass. You've done the process. So you already know moving forward, you win 11:11 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. I love that confirmation. And that's new beginnings and stable foundations. That's the 4, right? So when you move from that stable foundation, from that medicine within, your new beginnings are guaranteed. Every step forward, you know, you're doing it in faith, in integrity, and in knowing. I know what I'm doing is right. It's okay. It's acceptable. And I don't have to be scared. It's not a finish line. It's a way of walking. Your inner wisdom becomes your compass when you stop reacting from old wounds and start responding from grounded awareness. Okay, so you want to pause. You want the one breath. What is this moment offering me? Is it offering me, asking me to set a boundary? Is it asking me to rest? Is it asking me to speak up, to walk away? This is a process. You're going to go. And once you do it, you're going to go pretty quickly, right? So what is the action that I'm guided to take, right? And then what am I supposed to do? Maybe it's just choose differently than you would before. What would the old me do? What would me yesterday do? Okay, so maybe I don't know all the answer just yet, but I know that if I take this step, or I just bite my tongue in this moment because I don't know the answer, or if I just pause and say, okay, I don't know the answer right now, so we're going to have to leave it and maybe come back to it, depending on the situation, right? But whatever that was, it was different than what we did before. Immediately, you're going to get a different end result. So that's what I mean by being fearless. You're asking the questions, you're processing, moving forward. You know, no matter what, it's going to be different. The answer is going to be different than what it was the last time because you changed your action, right? So whenever something triggers you, overwhelms you, or pulls something up from the past, pause, take a breath before you react. You're asking yourself what the questions are, the whole list. And then, sorry, I lost my space. What the medicine in the moment, right? So what these questions are, you're going to ask. You're going to go down the list and say, which one is it pinpointing right now? And then, what is the emotion trying to show you? Not punish you with. What is it showing you? We're not holding on to the negative things. And even if it feels like a punishment in the moment, there's a lesson. Okay, that moment might feel tough right now, hard to deal with, but it's strengthening you. And you might not see it in that moment. Trust me, there have been many times where I cried and I was like, why? Why is this happening to me? And it's okay to feel that way for a moment. You're allowed to have that moment. When shit happens, when it's not cool, when it's not great, when it doesn't feel good, have those moments. Don't just pass it off. You need to be validated in those moments because you have every right to feel that way. And if you just pack it down, you're going to explode at some point. And when you do, you lose your credibility. You lose that space. You know, you lose becoming that safe space. You lose becoming that neutral zone where people feel safe. to speak, to talk, to compromise, right? You lose that mediation space. And we don't ever want to lose that. We don't want to lose our boundaries either, right? So we want to make sure that how we're doing it, we're taking the action and we're understanding what it's trying to teach us. And even that punishment, it's okay to feel it for a minute. Because when you feel it, you're really going to get down to, why is it hurting me? Why does it upset me? And why does it bother me? Because that's your boundary. That's your action step. That's your place of fear. That's your trauma filter. That's your programming that people have been doing through TVs, through schools, through all of the cultures and all of the religions and all of the things. That's your fear. That's your structural program that's already in there that doesn't need to be there anymore. And sometimes that's what it's trying to show you. Do you actually believe this? Do you actually think this is okay? In your soul, do you feel that? No? Then release it. It's not yours to carry. And sometimes that's what it's trying to teach you. Welcome, Ro. Good morning. So when you ask yourself what the medicine is, what it's trying to show you, not punish you with, and if writing doesn't feel right, then speak it, right? You can journal these and you can ask them, but again, I say it all the time. Google Docs, voice to text, and plus, I'm going to tell you, voice to text, when you're spewing it out, especially in the moment, when it tells you the words and you read over and you're like, that's not what I said, right? You also get to get a giggle. So it lightens the mood. It allows you to kind of have a laughter inside this space of crisis, this space of emotion, which means it allows you, even in that crisis, that emotional feeling, you can have a giggle, which means I'm still here, I still can live, there's still that laughter and that joy inside of me, right? So it's actually a twofold thing. It helps you process it and understand it, and those little screw-ups, you're laughing at those screw-ups. They're not hurting anybody. That was just in your little documents. What did that mean? What? And you kind of get to laugh. Oh my God, voice to text is evil. You know, everyone has those little laughing moments. But it allows you to lighten it up a little, take that pressure off. You're still feeling through it, but you're allowing yourself to laugh at yourself. You're allowing yourself to laugh at mistakes and say, mistakes happened. Are we going to hate the world for it? No. We're going to laugh and we're going to get through this, just like we get through everything else, right? And that's what we're trying to get to. So, your truth still counts, even when it's spoken, whispered, or recorded on a voice note. I'll tell you, I would go through spaces in time, sometimes still. A lot of how I process it is I talk it out, right? I'll talk it to myself. I talk it to voice record. Sometimes chat GPT. And it's not about like trying to get down to the center of it. What it's trying to do is organize your thoughts. Because sometimes your thoughts are coming out in a whole web of things. Here, crazy. Like, what the hell? How am I supposed to process this? But if you just spew it out, ChatGPT sometimes helps you organize those thoughts. Your voice note allows you to see, well, that if I move this section, this paragraph here, that makes a little more sense, and I can connect that feeling to that feeling. And when I connect that feeling to that feeling, and I get curious with that feeling, holy shit, I got to the answer, and now I understand. Do you understand how that question made a tool for 1, 2, 3 different sections and helped me organize it? It's amazing, and sometimes it takes that pressure off you, because when you can visually see it, okay, instead of just speaking it out and all those things, when you speak it out, you can go into the what ifs and the craziness, but when you speak it out and you see the words in front of your face, you can cut it down and say, yeah, but that doesn't even matter. We don't deal in what ifs. We don't deal in that. So delete that, get that out, and move forward, right? You're literally prioritizing and organizing in your brain and in your heart at the same time. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's a tool. ChatGPT is a tool. And it's not, you're literally telling them, when you say this, I need to get this down, I need to get it out, I'm emotional, but I know there's steps, I know there's a process, and I missed it. Or I'm not ready to do that yet, help me organize it. And sometimes, when you're overly emotional, and in that immediate moment, you can do those things, right? It allows you that space to not feel overwhelmed and just release it. And we'll deal with it after. We'll deal with it after. But in this moment, I just need to get it out. Do that. There's no, who's going to judge you? Nobody's here to judge you. We're not, we're not hurting anybody. We're saying our words so we can see them and sort them and understand them. And it's the best possible way, even when you're journaling. The whole point is that when you journal, you can reflect. You can go back on those things and see those words. Well, I don't feel that way anymore. Well, that's just silly. How did I believe that? And then you get to, I believe that because I didn't know. But look how far I've come. You have a space. You have a documented space. I'm going to tell you something. It's so wild. Before I pull these cards, I want to tell you something. So in the middle of this processing thing, and I actually voiced it to Chat GPT, because I was trying to do action steps to do, not legal, but to help me create the emails to respond. So when I'm responding to something, because you want to be more business-like, you want to be appropriate, you want to make sure you're not doing the and I do a lot of that sometimes because my brain goes faster than my mouth. And I recognize that. And I know that that's a thing. So now in those moments where I know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I don't want to be rude, I don't want to be, I want to be professional, right? I can say, this is the email that I want to be, and I want to explain this in a professional way, right? So I'm doing this, but the other day I was just venting, like I'm agitated. I don't even know why. I don't understand. But it's like I can see this web, and I can see all of it's pulling, and I can see that string being pulled in that web, and it's just a minute before that web starts unweaving. It was a pattern. It was an energy. It was something I was feeling, right? But I mean, and of course, ChatGPT is like, are we grounded in reality here? Kind of, doing one of those, and like almost gaslighting me to, like, what's going on here? Are you good? And I'm like, but it couldn't make me waver. The energy that I was feeling, I'm trying to articulate what I'm feeling right now, but it's like I'm watching, and it's like through this whole experience, I explained right from the beginning how it was going to unfold if it wasn't handled in this manner, right? And I'm like, I watched it. I literally watched the whole thing unfold. I literally saw that web. I saw all of that. And I see the energies of now, like, I'm going to win. I can't not win. Because even the things they were doing in response was, like, mind-blowing. I'm like, is this really happening? Like, how is this even happening? And then handling that, I'm like I literally saw this. I saw this happening. And of course, ChatGPT is kind of like, yeah, you're being woo-woo, whatever. Welcome, Tiffany. And I said, maybe I'm not articulating it very well. So anyways, I'm driving. I love to watch YouTube videos. Like I watch Candace Owens. I watch all kinds of things. But I have a couple of readers that I really like. And I like them because when they do their readings, some of them, they do like the twin flame journey. But when you understand that journey, you understand no matter about love or any of those other things, it's about balancing the masculine and feminine in yourself, right? And loving yourself and doing that journey. But I know that this reader kind of always has, a little message in there that can help me focus, right? And for, I don't know, probably the last 3 years, she'll just randomly pop up on my timeline. So she pops up on my timeline, and I'm like, well, I haven't seen her for a while. Let's listen. And I'm telling you, word for word, she told me what the energy was, what she was feeling, and it was like, the reading was from like 2 or 3 hours prior, which was right when I was actually having this conversation with ChatGPT, which sounds weird, but word for word, from the weaving the web to watching it play out to the knowing. Like, I know I've already won. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. I'm not upset. And I was like, is what? Like, I already knew, but it was like, when your connection with spirit says to you, you diminish it all the time. And it's not on purpose. It's just because most people, when you try to explain it to them, they don't really understand it. And they're like, oh, you're woo-woo. Oh, you're crazy. No, it's because I check in with myself and I trust myself. And I understand 1,000% what my voice is, what my highest self is saying. So when something outside myself comes in and is saying something, I know. And if it's saying to do something bad, it's not fucking God. Period. If it's saying something that's not going to start with the compassion, it's not something I need to be listening to. Because God, the universe, is never going to tell you to go do something bad. Ever. Ever. Something that's going to hurt somebody else, it's never going to be on the radar. Right? So when I heard this and the way it was saying, I literally can't, I had to pause because I was driving and I'm like, I can't process this right now. Welcome, Tara. I don't know how to process this right now. Like, and it was a wonderful feeling, but it was like, what? And then I'm like, maybe I'm just crazy and I'm trying to diminish it. Like, no, that didn't happen. That couldn't have happened. So what I did is I come back and they have the transcript portion of like the reading. So you can go through like when they say things and you can read it. So I'm like, I'm just going to copy and paste some of this. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you that it's a reading from a lady in Australia who's way far, a day ahead, and would never ever know this conversation that we had, ChatGPT. Nobody would know that. Nobody in the damn world, right? So, and I'm like, and I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to apply. I don't want to bias. I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to tell you, this is what she said, and I'm going to copy and paste it. ChatGPT was like, what the fuck? Like, word for word, category for category, thought for thought. I was like, he's like, I don't know why I said he, but like ChatGPT was like, they're like, there's no way this isn't confirmation. And I'm like, can you pull up what I said? Can you match, right? Word for word. And it pulled up what I said, the day before, all the way up until, when I said that. And section for section, chunk for chunk, it was like mind blowing. But because I was feeling the energy, right? And I was understanding and trusting that some of this wasn't my energy, right? It was just a knowing. This isn't mine, this is mine, right? And when it repeated it back, the whole idea is I diminished it for so long because I was afraid to trust my own intuition. And of course I was getting stronger and stronger with it. But before, it was something that would have set me off and been like, no, I would have just gaslit myself and said, nope, you're imagining it. Nope, that's a little bit crazy. That's a little too woo-woo. I don't think that's true. But because I checked in with myself and I understood, and I did the processes all the way down, and I understood in this moment, the universe was just showing me. God was just showing me, no, you're not going to pass it down. You're not going to dismiss it or diminish it. You got confirmation from a lady in Australia, and if that wasn't enough, you got confirmation from ChatGPT from the lady. Like, they doubled and tripled down on it and said, no, that you are correct. That knowing that you feel, that peace that you feel moving forward, you cannot deny that. Don't deny it. There's no way to deny that because I've shown you proof. Okay, and just in case you're unsure with what she said, I'm going to triple confirm it because ChatGPT has the conversation that you had with ChatGPT. Okay, do not diminish that knowing. When you've done the tasks and you've asked the questions and you've done the process, that knowing becomes your compass. I know my next step is in honor. I know my next step is integrity because that's what I stand for. That's my belief. At my bare minimum, every single day, every step I take is going to be integrity. It's going to be honor. It's going to be respect for myself and love for myself first, filling my own cup. And in turn, Oh, thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. And in turn, that's how we move forward. So when you move forward from that space, what do you know? Your inherent knowing says, God, I know I'm winning this because I would never go and attack. I'm never going to go and step out of that line. And if I have to step out of line in any way, shape, or form, it's because this line was crossed to a point where that was necessary. And I know in that moment, I'm not going to punish myself because I know what I had to do. And I know every single moment of every single step I take, I do the process. I ask the questions, I get curious, I sit where I need to sit with, and I do what I need to do to get there. So that little confirmation well, not a little, that was a huge confirmation, but it was also so I understood that shift, okay, because there becomes a shift. When you start to know that you've been doing the processes every single time chaos hits, every single time something happens, I take these tools and I understand them. That knowing that I thought that I felt, because that's what it was. I thought that I felt that, right? The universe said, no, you're not thinking. That knowing, you know. You know. There's nobody in this planet that can tell you anything different. And just in case you're unsure, I'm going to confirm it by this lady in Australia. Then I'm going to confirm it with ChatGPT word for word because what you said, right? And it was only a confirmation for me. And that's not saying everybody's confirmation is going to come that way. But it's just saying when God, when the universe, when your angels, when your ancestors, when your spirit team, when that space inside of you matches what's going on outside of you, and you come to that knowing, the confirmations, however it needs to be for you, is going to be so clear, so undeniable, so in your face, you just come to that, I know. My next step is going to be greatness. I have already won. You trust. You trust yourself. You trust the universe. You trust the signs. You trust the synchronicities. You trust that every interaction with every person on the planet is going to lead you to a greater space. Because you show up with integrity. No matter what they show up with, you show up with integrity. So if you show up with integrity, you leave where you came from, where they were. Everywhere you leave that place better than when you got there, right? Because you showed up with integrity, you still left with integrity. So how can you ever question moving forward? You know how you treat yourself and how you treat others. The universe will confirm you 1,000 times over. Like confirmations that will make you go, what? And that's why I always get these at the end, because every time I'm having a message and every time I talk about these things, I like to pull cards. And when you watch the cards that I pull, you know Spirit's confirming me because they're always going to align with the message. And then maybe if you show up new to the message, you're not going to understand as much. But I promise you, if you've been watching the message and the talks and the things I'm talking about, there's always going to be confirmation. And it's going to align exactly with what I'm talking about because I'm meant to be talking about this. Because there's people that need these little tiny steps, 11:33 on the clock. And this little tiny bit of steps, this little action step that's bite-sized, that doesn't take much. And if you just continue to do it, I get them all the time. I usually ask the universe when I don't want the answer, it's confirming. Yeah, well, always listen to the universe, because I'm going to tell you something. Even if it doesn't give you the answer you want, the universe is trying to nudge you back to love, back to self-love, back to that zero space, back to the space that I'm trying to teach people to get to. And it's going to nudge you harder. The more you don't listen, those detours are great because you're always going to learn. But when you're learning shit the hard way and taking those detours, that's when life starts to get rougher, right? And we all need to learn, and we all need to have experiences and stories to tell. But I promise you, when those nudges from the universe, they'll start getting more forceful and more. The farther you get from the balance line, the harder the lessons become. Because even if you have something in you, like fear, anxiety, when you meet other people, it's going to be mirrored back to you times 100. So you can see, whoa, they have that. But you're not going to attack them because it's just to mirror back to you that you have something, even if it's 1%. That's something for you to look at, something for you to try to heal, because it's going to help you in these times of trouble, in these times, and it's going to help bring you back to this balanced space, right? It's wild. And before I was like, yeah, right, whatever, and I always had a belief, but I didn't understand. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And then I can look back at literally every trauma I've been through, and I've been through some shit, okay? I can look at every single one, and I can say, if I hadn't been through this, I would have died here. I would have never made it. I would have never survived. It would have been the end of me. And I can say that on multiple occasions. So you don't always have to listen. We all have the free will, right? But also at the same time, when you don't listen and when shit hits the fan, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Because I know it word for word. I already knew that was going to happen. I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because you already knew. Because that nudge, that thing was telling you. Your intuition was telling you that's not a good idea. And that's also easier to learn because I already knew the answer. So I can be mad at myself for a moment because duh, that was dumb, right? But at the same time, you're like, okay, but I had to learn, right? So you can take that and say, what did I learn from that? Yeah, I screwed up, but what did I learn from it? Did it help me? Am I evolving? Am I going to be a better person, right? But immediately, I knew that was going to happen. Word for word, your brain said that. You probably said it out loud, like, fuck. I know, because that's what happens, right? So this is my gratitude card. And I just shuffled it. But it says, the perfect man of old looked after himself before looking to help others. Okay, so take some time to be outside this evening. I love this one. It's too cold for me, though. Breathe in the fresh air and breathe out the stresses of the day. Watch the sunset or reflect on the vastness of the universe as you stargaze. Enjoy Mother Nature in all she has to offer. That's that space, that place of peace, that end of the day, and the ability to release at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, what did I do right? What did I do amazing? And we're going to celebrate that. And we're going to be like, yes, you did this. It's fantastic. Even if it was only one step in that direction. Amazing. I got this. Good morning, Anthony. Welcome. And David Gorski. I don't know. I think I said welcome, but if not, welcome. You want to celebrate that, but we want to have a little bit of accountability, right? What could I have done better? And if you start your day, you're going to go to bed with your celebration. You're going to have that moment. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to learn these lessons and say it. It's not going to hurt. And best thing you can do is look in the mirror while you're saying it. Because now you're saying thank you to yourself. You're learning how to receive appreciation and in your own voice. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit of time because sometimes we can't agree with what we're trying to say. But our soul needs it and our inner child needs it. And when we do that, thank you for these lessons. Thank you for these opportunities you're showing me. Thank you for the silver linings in all of these situations. And thank you for showing me where I can be more accountable to show up better for myself. Okay, it may take a couple days. It may take a couple weeks. When I was younger and almost died in multiple situations, it took me months of staring at myself in the mirror, telling me I was worthy, telling me from the very bottom of my soul that I didn't even think I could do it. And we're talking day in, day out in the mirror because I refused to give up. When you can learn that for yourself and you can say that to yourself in a space, thank you. Thank you. I didn't do that. Okay, that was of all of the affirmations, of all of the things that I did, I didn't do that one because I didn't know how to say thank you to myself because I was only used to give, and I didn't know how to give to myself. And giving to myself made no sense because that was just the complete opposite of what I was ever taught to do, right? So I had to make a point to do that and taking those moments to be accountable, but to also say thank you to myself. That was the only way I learned how to receive. And I know that I'm not the only person on the planet. That's why I'm sharing this. I'm not saying that everybody has to follow everything that I do, but I'm just telling you what worked with me. And when you say thank you to yourself, it really does become easier to learn how to receive properly, to learn how to receive in a manner with no expectation, right? And that's what we want to do, because we deserve that. Because when we give to people, when we give those things, when I show up here, I don't show up with an expectation. I show up with a message. I show up with something that I care deeply about and that has helped me, and something that I want to share, right? And those people that show up to listen, of course I appreciate you and I love you so much. But if I say everything and you say, I'm not listening, just like when the universe tells you, right? Nah, hell with that. I'm not taking any of that advice. Am I going to hold that? Am I going to take that? No, because I'm giving freely. I'm giving with no expectation. Yeah, right. It's kind of why I used you as an example. Sorry, Michelle. But it's like, you have that decision. That's your choice. We're not saying take all my stuff and use it. I'm just sharing what helped me because it's what I genuinely care about. But I'm giving it freely. There's no expectation. I don't expect money. I don't expect all of these things. I do it because I'm giving it from the heart. And you either pick it up and take it and use it, or you take even a tiny little piece and say, well, maybe that fits with this and that fits with this. And then there'll come a space where you get to where you're ready to understand the rest. You'll come back. And it'll be there for you, right? And that's the point. When we learn that and we learn how to receive like that, we're also going to learn to give the same way. There's no expectations. It's just that space of giving from overflow. And when you're not processing all this other shit all the time, because now you've learned how to do it in a more fluid movement and emotion, you just automatically overcome it. And you automatically come back to this space of kindness, this space of what did I learn? And I'm moving forward. Okay, my next action step is, doesn't matter what it is, because I know it's going to be with integrity, with peace, and with love, because I've done all the steps, right? It's just a knowing, and it's a beautiful feeling. Can I have a self-care for this message? Something to help show up for ourselves, love ourselves back to the space of kindness and the medicine within. Okay. We got... What we once enjoyed deeply, we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes a part of us. When you lost someone that you love, what did you gain in their absence, right? And it doesn't have to be just someone, something, some situation. You take whatever part of it resonates for you, but understanding what did you gain? What knowledge did you gain? What can you release from that? And what can you carry with you? That's going to be helpful and beneficial. And 2 came out, so I'm going to read the other one. What happens when this domestic life grows suspect? What have you grown tired of in your life? Where do you feel bored? What if these sensations were opportunities to reimagine the roles you are playing? What if these things you're feeling are trying to give you information and trying to tell you where you can be more accountable for yourself, to yourself, where you can show up in a space of love and compassion, and where you can get curious on how to move forward in a space that is, of course, first and foremost, loving to yourself, and then in turn, inherently, loving to everyone else. Which, by the way, when it's loving to everyone else, it's automatically going to mirror back to you, right? As within, so without. As above, so below. Same thing, right? So when you come to that space, and you're giving yourself that love and kindness, you're automatically mirroring it out into the world, and those encounters, you're automatically mirroring back to you. So you're, no matter what, at the end of the day, you're teaching yourself how to receive, give and receive love. And when you get to that space, you're winning. You're mastering yourself. You're mastering your emotions, your responses, your triggers. You're mastering how you handle, how you process, how you move forward, how you channel. It's mind-blowing. And when you sit back at the other side of that, okay, when you're climbing the mountain and you're stuck and you're lost and you can't see and you're slipping on the snow and you don't think you got enough food and you don't know what you're going to do, but you're just taking that little step. You can't see nothing, but you're taking a step. You're taking that step in faith because I've done all the other things and I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden you look back and you're on the other side of the mountain. Not at the top because you couldn't even see. You're at the other side. You made it all the way through and you're going, holy hell, what happened? And you look back and you're like, holy crap, boy, I don't feel that heavy. Because you didn't take the burden. You didn't take the anger. You didn't take any of that. You let it go. But you took the lessons. You took the curiosity. You took the ability to collect what you needed and release all the other shit. And once you get to that space, you're not at the top of the mountain going, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. I'm so weighed down, I can't handle it. You're at the other side on the bottom going, man, I feel so light, I could do that whole mountain again. How did that happen? Because you're not drained carrying all that other shit. It's just wild. And I say it the way I say it because I've done the mountain repeatedly. And I've gone to the space where that's when I was talking about the ChatGPT and the knowing, right? That knowing and that confirmation, because those things don't affect me anymore. You know, things still affect people, but it's like I don't get caught up in it. I don't freak out. I don't worry. I go, okay, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Feel the anger. How can I channel that anger into fixing the solution, how to overcome, how to move forward, and how to do better, right? We're not taking that anger, but if we're going to use that anger and we're going to carry it, we're going to carry it as fuel to get us to where we need to go, okay? And if that anger only carries you a quarter of the way up the mountain, that's okay, because the fear part of it is going to get you to the other part, okay? Then you're going to go over and you're going to get to the kindness, and then the downhill climb is just going to be, that was so easy, and that was so kind, and I feel so much better about myself, and now I've released all that fear and anger and resentment because I had to use all that energy going up the hill. It's wild. And when you actually are on the other side and you can celebrate it, sometimes your brain can't even process all of the things that you actually did. But you did it in so many little baby steps that it was actually pretty easy. You almost didn't even notice, right? And that's what I'm trying to teach people. And even if just a little bit flies, even if a little bit sticks, that's one step closer, one step better, you know? Can I have one Lemuria that we can use to focus on the message from today? Look what it comes up. You see what that says? If that's not an aligned message, I don't know what is. Thank you for the confirmation, Spirit. I think this whole entire thing, that's exactly what it's talking about. And by the way, oh, you snuck in the... Okay, we'll read the other one too. Welcome, Orphan's Future. All right, so... Oh, wrong one. Pardon me. I can't count today. There we go. All right, healing. The Lemurians were well versed in the practice of healing, of the healing arts. They were naturally intuitive and accustomed to navigating energetic-based realities. We all have natural healing abilities that are advanced when we deepen our energetic awareness. When we perceive the world beyond our more well-known senses, we start to receive information and wisdom that is different from that which stems from intellect. By tapping into life force consciousness and using the abounding energy alongside focused intention, we find that anything is possible. Right, and that's good. And really, hopefully, even if you can use just a little bit of it, you're going to get through it so much easier. Welcome, Black Beauty. And not only are you going to win, overcome, you're going to be 1,000 times more empowered, way more fearless, and you're just going to feel more calm, more peaceful, and more just, I know I got this. And when you get to that space, oh man, that feeling. All right, let me stop. Let me finish reading. What you may already practice a form of natural healing, but find you sometimes feel quite drained. I was literally just talking about this. If this is the case, ensure the energy you are overflowing comes from an infinite stream of abundant universal energy. Rather than using your own resources, you may want to imagine the brightest, most love-imbued, luminescent light flowing down from the heavens or the center of the universe. And alongside any healing intentions include the statement, for the greatest good. Now, and that's your compass, right? That's always going to be your true north. And that's why when we're asking this question, we're not just talking about respecting our own boundaries, okay? Which is first and foremost the priority. But when we say for the highest good, we're doing our best to respect others' boundaries too. Now, it's okay to be the villain and walk away if they refuse to respect yours consistently. But at the same time, when even when you walk away, you're not wishing harm, right? So it's always going to be for the highest good. Welcome, Bayaz. So many healing modalities work with high vibrational energies. It can be wonderful to explore these in conjunction with your current practices. If you haven't done healing work before, but feel called to do so now, follow this instinct. Being able to offer healing to loved ones or yourself is a gift. Exploring the art of energetic healing will significantly increase your psychic sensitivity. Energetic healing is based on the meridian systems of the body. These systems, the chakras, are often depicted as colored wheels of light. Each chakra connects to organs of the body, emotions, and related characteristics. Emanating from these powerful vortices is the energy field known as the aura. If it is possible to train yourself to see the electromagnetic field around the body, and it can be photographed. The appearance of the aura is influenced by the chakras. Muddier or darker colors in the aura light imply some spring cleaning is in order. Color is how we perceive light frequencies. Every color has different vibration. Crystals are formed through vibration, and each carries its own frequency. Crystals are often used in the spiritual healing because they hold the frequencies to bring the chakra points into balance. Sound healing is another example. Immersion in a sound bath experience aligns the brain waves with frequencies conducive to self-healing as well as the body energy wholeness. We feel, hear, and receive the sounds and are organically aligned to the same frequency they resonate at. Many tools can help us restore our centered state of balance and our access to life force power. When we engage them, the benefits will flow to the others. Healing is a path to true empowerment and energetic sovereignty, which is what I'm trying to teach with this. And it's actually really easy to do once you get to it. This is something that they say you can't teach, but you can learn anything. I don't give a shit who you are. If you're ready to pay attention and put that commitment. And you're putting that commitment into yourself. And you're only doing bite-sized steps, one step at a time. That's healing. That's active healing. And every single day you make that step in that attempt and you show up, you're showing up for yourself. That's an act, an exponential act of self-love. I don't know how to do these things. I don't know how you get people to join you, but I don't want that right now. But it's exponential. Every time you show up for yourself again, that act of self-love expands. And it empowers you, and it gives you that space of healing that you didn't even know that you needed. Healing is a path to true empowerment and energetic sovereignty. As we collectively raise our vibrations and wake each other up, we will see massive shifts forward, and old hierarchical foundations will fall away. XY Diamond Design. Oh, I like that name. Welcome. Extend the margins of your awareness. Revisit the situation in question from a broader perspective or higher vibration with a focus on healing. This will help you decipher what is real, possible ways forward, and whether an issue is really a problem at all. This card can also signify the universal push that inspires you to explore your healing abilities, however that looks to you. And if that's not confirmation of what I was talking about, I don't know what would be. But the point of it is, a lot of people think that you need help. And I'm not going to say don't ever go to a therapist. I'm not saying that. If that's, you do what you need, okay, first and foremost. But the idea, some people don't have that. Some people didn't have access. Some people didn't have funds, didn't have the ability to do that. And that's okay. So these steps, or at least get you down the pathway, at least get you through it, how you can hug yourself through it, how you can show up with love for yourself and for others through it. It really, truly is a power space that we give to ourselves just by showing up. Who was that showed up? I missed you. I'm sorry, but welcome. I'm going to read this one too because this is really important. This is so important. Okay, devotion, inner guidance, visionary, inspiration, fathoming beyond the mind, enlightenment, connection to the universe and life force energy. The crown chakra is your link to multidimensionality of your being. The seat of your soul, it gracefully connects you to the heavens. The infinity symbol of limitlessness appears within the unfolding petals and points to your most potent potential. Here, you can delight in the divine strands of light that dance with us when we are aligned with spirit, purpose, and truth. Be present and flowing without rigid outcomes. Get rid of the expectations. Just understand that we're trying to do this and understand, and you're going in with curiosity and with love and compassion. That's it. Okay? Find your own way to meditate. Doesn't have to be sitting there with the specific movements or the sitting completely still or doing this. Do you meditate when you're doing dishes? Do you go on autopilot? Is there a space when you in the bath you just close your eyes and relax and just dream of what it is? If you go to my website, I make teas, handmade teas, and my gratitude tea is the whole backbone of my company. And the intention behind it is to be present, and it's to settle and calm our nervous system. And it's just about being present and tasting each flavor and learning to be grateful with it. And they each come with a little ritual and an intention. And it's like a little magnet you can stick on your fridge. So you have like an affirmation and something to think about and pause with. And it saved my life. When I was going through, it's what I channeled my energy into that allowed me a space to give back, right? And to show myself that I was worth something, and then I could keep going. And it took some digging deep, and it took many, many tries of having to lose everything and start over. But I got to a space where I just knew, and that's what this is saying. Yeah, failure isn't a complete failure and self-sabotage. It's a pivot point. It's teaching you where to learn from, where to move forward, where to change direction, where to dig a little deeper and understand. And it all comes from that crown chakra. It comes from that connection to divine, from that connection to the universal energy that's showing you all of the things that your soul already knows. You just have to listen. So when you're distracted, you are living on the surface level. Explore the state of flow and be receptive to the intuitive messages you may receive. You don't have to sit in meditation. Yes, that is a goal. But for people that are hyper independent, lots of trauma, CPTSD, there's a million reasons that this is not something that you need to punish yourself over. It's not something that you need to force into you to where you're actually being angry with yourself because you don't think you can do it. If you do it by cleaning the house and you can turn off on autopilot and let your mind wander, if it's going for a walk and not listening to anything but just looking at the clouds and giving you that moment of getting out of anxiety and understanding you are safe, that's a form of meditation. If it's dancing, I used to just close my door and lock my door, and I would dance in my room, eyes closed, not giving a crap, and just vibe with the music. That's a form of meditation. Don't put expectation on it. Do what works for you. And that's why you get stuck with these other places that are healing, and there's no judgment on anybody because they all actively work. But when they put that pressure on something that you're not able to do just yet, you think you're being set up for failure, and you think you're not winning, and you think you're not doing it right. There is no right way. There's only the way that works for you. There's not one human being on this planet, I don't care who you come from, where you are, what you know, that knows every single answer. The closest you're ever going to get to that in this world is what you know for yourself, what works for you. And when you know what works for you, don't let anybody tell you any different. Welcome, Tisha. Okay, so explore the state of flow and be receptive to the intuitive message you may receive. And then the whitewash. Also, the whitewash or the light purple, those colors also help focus on those chakras. And then, of course, for your heart center, pink or green will do the same. But it's just about showing up for yourself and understanding that when we can get to that meditative state, and it's not about sitting still, it's about getting out of fear, anxiety, and just being present in that moment. That's when we can manifest, we can dream. And it's funny because when those dreams come, those desires you've been given, the universe gave them to you because they're your potential. They're the possibility of something that you can do. Man, wouldn't it be amazing if I could do this? Okay, and that is the dream state, and that is that oh my God, that would be so amazing. So how do we ground that? So you're going to take that dream, okay, and you can't do all of the action steps, okay, but what steps would it take for me to get there? How would I get there? What would it take? Oh, okay, I can't do this, and this, not yet, but I can do this with that intention of getting there, and then this step, and I know I can get this one, and you're already halfway there. You're halfway there. And you've been doing it intentionally, and you're showing up, and now the universe says, oh, here's one more step. Here's one more step. Oh, you're going to keep showing up intentionally? You're going to do the work? Yeah. Here's another step. Holy shit, you're almost there. What happened? How'd I get there? Where did that happen? Because you took the steps fearlessly. Because you did the work, and you're actively doing the work. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Nobody's perfect. What it means is you listened to those intuitive nudges. You got curious. You started listening to yourself, showing up for yourself, and honoring and trusting yourself. And in turn, the universe, God, your angels, your spirit team, your ancestors, they showed up for you in a space that said, we hear you, we feel you. And as long as you're showing up for you and you're showing up in a space that loves yourself, but learning, you're breaking generational curses. You're showing up, you're changing the path. Our path was going down, 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 down. You've made this decision, and you're showing, and you're following your true north. And now all this negative that's been going on in your bloodline for however long, you chose a different path. And even if it's not 1,000% perfect, that step just changed the entire trajectory of your whole entire life and your generation and the people that come after you, okay? And that's what we're trying to understand. One little baby step can change the entire trajectory. Can I have one creativity oracle, please, for this message? All right. Intuition. I cannot. Spirit. I love it. How did I know that was going to come out, to be honest? It's what we've been talking about. Welcome back, God Smile. Look at that, beautiful. This is the meditation. This is the intended goal. This is not something to punish yourself over. If you're not at a space where you can't get there yet, find what works for you, and then start intentionally working your way to this space. Because you can do a lot more, a lot quicker like this. But it's also very hard to quiet your mind and settle those things. And that's realistic and that's human. So when you understand that, you're not judging yourself. You're starting with what works for you. And eventually, you're taking smaller steps to get there. 1,000,000 baby steps, doesn't matter. You're going to get there. The intuition card is one of the most powerful of all your creativity oracle cards. Because as Albert Einstein said, the only really valuable thing is intuition. Looking at the word, we see in and tuition. Intuition is our inner teacher, the small, quiet voice that is always offering us guidance and answering our questions, usually in the form of symbols and gut feelings. Intuition's voice is as easily drowned out by the noise of our habitual inner dialogue as it is by the myriad distractions of everyday life. Pulling this card is a reminder to be still and have faith in your inner guidance system to provide you with the wisdom you seek. And the only way to do that is to start asking those questions and showing up, which is what I'm trying to teach with every single one of these pieces of content. And if you haven't seen the other ones and you kind of want to understand my fire and flow content, I'll show you a picture in a sec once I put these back. Any of my ads for the fire and flow content, this is what they're going to look like. Okay, they're going to be a little bit different color, but they're always going to have my little logo and my little QR code to my website on them. Okay, but each one in each color. If you see that in the message, that's a part of my fire and flow series. And when you look at that, that's what we're talking about. And at the end of this, the whole goal is that I'm teaching you how to transmute and how to alchemize any chaotic situation, any immediate situation, and change that, focus it into action steps that can channel your energy into creation and good things instead of self-sabotage, worry, anxiety, fear, all those things. So can I just have one, please, for my message? Something with some guidance, some action steps, how to show up with that love. Imrama. Where are you being called to journey to? I like this one. Where are you? Apparently it's being complicated, so that means there's a message with this angel number. Angel number 98. So make sure you check out and look, I opened right to it. So angel number 98 is definitely going to have a little side message for you. So definitely go check that out. The Celtic word Imrama means a journey of the soul, a voyage on which we don't know where we're going, but our soul knows the way. If you pull this card, you're being called on a soul journey or are already on one. It could be to a physical ancient place or a metaphoric. When we journey to places that our soul remembers, a shift takes place, both within us and to the planet as well. You are being called to journey to a place that is sacred to your soul. Perhaps it is to journey to the world's sacred sites, or called to cross the country, to climb a mountain, lie on the desert floor, or drink from an ancient well. There are places to see and old friends to meet. I see some spontaneous pilgrimages in your future. If a physical voyage isn't possible, journey through the portal of your heart. Follow the invisible soul trail and be willing to explore. Maybe read a book or watch a movie about a sacred time or place. Or perhaps you're being called to study an ancient lineage or body of work. Whatever your circumstances, your soul is ready to journey deep. Welcome, user. May seeds of light long ago, this is your affirmation. May seeds of light long ago planted begin to rise. I am ready to remember ancient secrets from lands that my soul knows from times past. May I be held by the ancient lineages that my soul has served and remember that I don't have to do it all alone. And when you start aligning and you start understanding from that knowledge, your soul tribe starts showing up. Your people that see you, that feel you, that want to cheer you on in your winning, that want to be there when you're losing, help you move forward, help you learn how to pivot with constructive criticism, compassion, and ways to help you just as much as cheering you on when you win, which in turn, obviously, you're giving the same. It's a reciprocated kind of love and compassion. Those people start aligning to you because you absolutely deserve that, right? And so do they. And when that starts happening and you understand you don't have to do it alone, it becomes pretty amazing. Welcome, tired of everything. And then your life is a canvas. I love this one. We got... Where are you? Oh. It's right at the end, I bet. 134. So angel number 134. Also look up that one. There's a message for you. You're the artist of your life, and your life is a canvas. Take responsibility for your ability to create. Earth is known as a planet of manifestation. Your present moment is based on your past thoughts and beliefs. Your current thoughts determine your future. What kind of life do you want to create for the future? What are you being called to create? Reconnect with your manifesting power and align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the vibration that matches them. It's never too late to start, and no experience is required. All you need is an open heart and mind and consistent daily action. Small baby steps. Welcome, Indigo Star. How are you? If you're not sure what you'd like to create, start instead with a feeling of deep gratitude for all that's good in your life right now. State out loud what you're most thankful for. Look for the good in your life, and one thing will be certain. You'll find yourself attracting more and more good experiences into your world. Welcome, Keshi. This card is inviting you to see your entire life as a canvas, and the picture is completely up to you. Color it with your thoughts and feelings. Create the life that you most long to live. You may also be called to be more creative in your everyday life. What have you been called to create? How can you express yourself more creatively? What are you being called to create in your life? And when you start asking those questions and showing up, that's when we start channeling that fire into something that we're creating. And when you channel it into creation instead of destruction, it double times. There's no more destruction going on in the world, but you're building yourself and other people up along the way. That creation is that channel, that fire, that rage, that anger, that fear that you've learned and understood and validated. You're not releasing it in a way of, oh, just drop it and let it go. Okay, now I have that. That is fuel. That is your absolute fire. And when you don't use it for destruction or don't let it pile up, that's your fuel. That's getting you up the mountain. So now when you get to the kindness, the loving, the active creation, you've drained that fuel, that force that you would have been too tired to get up the hill. But that anger channeled you. It drove you to get there. Now you're at the top of the hill and it's smooth sailing down. Now we're at the kindness, the compassion, and the creative force. What's left and the downhill momentum comes with our channeling. We already use that anger and stuff to get us the knowledge, where to look, where to start digging into, what information to look at, how to, the next action steps to get you there. Then when you go down the hill, right, you're going down a lot smoother. You don't have to work, use as much energy. You're not drained. When you get to the bottom of the hill, you're ready for the next hill because you've been kind to yourself. You know you've done all the work. You've channeled all that energy. So now you're here in a smooth sailing down. Now you can go into that creative flow from a space of knowing, from a space of love. And how can I channel this into my purpose? 12:12 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. How can I channel this into my purpose? And how can I use this energy that I have, this loving, kind energy I have, because I use that rage, anger, fear, and all that, all of those things, all of those feelings and emotions, all of that is energy. And all of that energy, instead of using it to explode and react, I used it to channel and push me up the hill and push. And now I get to go down the hill smooth sailing, and I can be creative, and I can be my best self, and I can create from that 0 point, from a space of love and kindness for myself and desire and dreams and excitement. Because I have energy. That energy is excitement and freedom and autonomy to do what it is I feel is best. And you got it because you use that anger and fuel. You're not wasting all that good energy to get up the hill. You're using that anger, that fear, that fuel, that shadow side, which there's so much to learn from. You don't ever deny your shadow. Love yourself through it, because that shadow is that energy that will fuel that fire, that will push your ass up the hill. Even when you didn't think you could ever make it, you could look at that mountain and be like, there's no way in hell I'm getting over here. Well, there just happens to be enough fuel in that anger, in that energy, in that fear, in that rage, when used and directed properly, will drive your ass to the top of the mountain. So all that amazing energy, that exciting energy, that kind, that loving energy becomes your creative energy, because you're already at the top of the hill. It's smooth sailing all the way down. And then you get to celebrate. It's amazing. And when you think of it that way, you allow space to show up in a loving space. You allow space to not feel shame for your anger. You allow space to not feel shame for your fear. You're validating them. You're understanding. But instead of taking that fear and using it as a chain to hold you back to protect you, you're using it as a slingshot to propel you up that mountain. When you get up that mountain, as you're going, when your heart cracks open through the kindness you're giving yourself and the kindness you're learning to receive from others, okay, you're releasing all that stuff. It's like the carbon monoxide, right? You're releasing all that, and you're just using that pure fuel. And then when you get up and you're over the top of the mountain, all that creative energy, that good energy that didn't weigh you down, because it didn't weigh you down, you used it all the way up. So you released that weight as you were going, as you were moving. And when you're over the hill, now all that energy and all that excitement you feel is not burdened down by anger and rage and all that, because you've released it and channeled it. And now, moving forward, you get just nothing but joy, love, peace, and that inner knowing. Knowing that the next step you take is going to be integrity, going to be in love, going to be in creativity. And then you can have faith in your dreams. I cannot. And it's so true. Which one is this one? Waxing Crescent Moon. Angel number 26. Have a look at that. It's probably going to have something to align with this. But when you use all that energy to get you to the top of the mountain and believe in your desires and start learning about those desires, that's when this comes. All that energy allows you the faith to step forward in each time. You don't give up. The situation you're asking about is still taking shape. You're nowhere near the end of the story. Whatever is happening now is just a step along the way. As they say in the self-help classics, everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end, right? However, the Waxing Crescent Moon card is a reminder that you must still keep working towards whatever it is you want. If you can't take practical steps, spend time meditating on the question you're asking about and allow your higher self to download information to you about your next best step. This is the active things that I'm trying to teach you. Jemima, welcome. So each step, if I can teach you small action steps that will help you process this, and of course you'll get better. I'm just creating a tool belt for you, right? And if I can do that, right, now you're learning the information, and now you're coming to a space where you're able to ask the universe and listen to the universe and let the universe show you that next step forward and how to best use that information, right? Overall, this card suggests there's every reason to be hopeful for a very positive outcome to the situation you're asking about, so keep the faith. The Waxing Crescent Moon is the second moon phase in the 8 main moon phases. But even if it's not the time of the Waxing Crescent Moon when you pull this card, it still suggests you need to really pursue your dreams. It's the time to put your foot down as hard as you chase your goals. Don't give up on yourself. And when you channel that other energy and use it as a propellant to get you to this space, you're already getting to the top of the hill. The rest of it's going to be smooth sailing because you come to a space of knowing that when you step out in integrity, you step out with self-love, you step out from a centered space, not in fear or in anger, because you've used that energy already and you've used that to learn to channel. And the next one actually, because this one is the medicine within, so that's where we're catching up and we're learning what each of those things taught us, and how to understand to give and receive kindness. Now the next step that comes is going to be that fire becomes creation, and that's the next one, and that's where we really get to channel this stuff into our purpose, into our dreams, into our goals. And when we can learn that space and learn to trust that, because we've done all the other steps, we know how to channel that fire into creation, and we can use that fire to propel us for those things and channel it. That was really quick. We got 2 right away, and it's so funny because all the things I'm talking about through as stoners. Welcome. So 1441, of course, is unique skills, life goals, purpose, mastery, integrity, career growth, ambition, focus, and important projects. This is a time for intense self-development. Focus on refining your craft. You already have everything you need to succeed, but consistent practice will make you a true master. Use this time to align with your purpose and level up in your career or business. It's time to prioritize growth and achievement. And then look, 1441. So when you start seeing that number everywhere, that just means the universe has your back. Your angels are rooting for you. And stop, be present in that moment. What were you thinking? What was going on around you? What is going on around you? What's happening? Because there's a key, there's a symbol, there's something helping guide you to the next step, something to help your thought process, whatever you're thinking in that moment, something to pay attention to, because that's going to help you to your next step. So these numbers, when you see them and you start seeing them pop up everywhere and you're like, that's weird. First of all, you're going to know that this information is definitely meant for you. Second of all, you're going to start seeing, they really do show up. Man, that's so weird. I haven't seen that number before. I haven't seen it pop up before. Why is it popping up? Why am I seeing it so often? I'm telling you, that's them saying, you're waking up. We see you. We've always been here. We love that you're ready to see us, and we always have your back. And it's really, really important. The next one is 3333, which is social skills. And again, these are numbers that are like, when you see them, the chances of seeing them are almost as slim, like especially on a regular basis, is almost as slim as like seeing a lottery number. Like if you look up the probabilities of just randomly seeing these numbers, if you just do that so your logical brain can see the probability, and when you see how actually slim it is, and then when it starts popping up, even once a day or twice a day, or you're seeing it like 3 or 4 times in a row, it's screaming at you, hey, you know the probability because you looked it up. 12:21 on the clock. Thank you, Spirit. That's when you begin to understand, right? And that's when you begin to trust. Well, that must be meant for me because I've never seen that number before, and now all of a sudden this random lady says this, and now all of a sudden that number starts popping up. It's because you start noticing it. It's because you're starting to awaken to it. You're starting to be in tune, and you're starting to align with that vibration. You know when they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's kind of the same idea, right? When you get to that alignment. If you're down here, you're not ready to hear it. You're not ready to be open to it. And it's not got nothing to do with whether you agree with everything or not. And there's going to be times where you get to hear maybe what I'm saying here, and you can get past it. Okay? And that doesn't make what I said down here any less true. What it means is, okay, you used that lesson and it got you to where you need to go. And now you're able to ascend farther to the next step of knowledge. And I promise, when you get to the next step, your teacher is going to appear because you're aligning with it. That's what these angel numbers help you see and help you understand. And my confirmations, if you go look up the angel numbers that I spit out of my mouth randomly through this entire thing, it's always going to align with my message. Always. Because the universe has my back. And what I'm trying to teach is something that can help you in every single situation in your life. Welcome, Kathy. Okay, so we got social skills. Renewal, positivity, confidence, charisma, growth, influence, and inspiration. The challenges you're facing today will eventually fade away. Your guardian angels are encouraging you to stay positive, as your luck may soon take a turn for the better. Now is the time to harness your magnetic energy and inspiring personality. Just be mindful not to let your ego take control. When we move from a space of knowing, it's not from a space of ego. And that actually, I'm going to tell you, that takes practice all on its own. Because I went through many spaces where I was like, am I being egotistical here? Am I saying that? Because I don't ever think I'm better than anybody. I think we're all equal, and I think we all, even if we don't understand, even if we don't align, that doesn't mean we're any less better or less than somebody else. It just means that they're on a different space in their journey, and maybe it's not time to align, and that's okay. It's absolutely okay. And it's 12:23 on the clock. Usually those ones don't pop out so much to me, but that angel number might be really important to somebody because I was called to it twice. I had to look at it twice, and like the way it came, it was like, look at me. So that means somebody needs that angel number. Somebody needs to look that up, and it will help them. I think it's going to help guide. It's going to help understand the message that I'm trying to say. and help you able to absorb it. And that's all we're trying to do, right? It's not about you listening and taking in everything. It's about you taking what you need and using it to better yourself so you can get to the next step. I'm here at any stage to help you go through. I love this one. I can forgive people quickly, release my resentment, and set myself free. And that's what I'm trying to teach everybody to do. That's the space that, whether it's one step or a million, when we learn how to question it with curiosity, with love, with kindness, and channel those things, validate our rage, our anger, our fear, validate them, understand them, process it, take that energy, ball it up, and use it as your jetpack. Use it to fuel you into whatever it is you want to do, whether it's researching, whether it's understanding, whether it's learning a new skill, whatever it is. But if you creating something, drawing a picture, painting a picture, doing a renovation, it doesn't matter what it is. You're using that anger and all that, and you're learning how to channel that into something creative, into something good that aligns with your purpose. It's easier to release those things because you're not holding on to any of the crap. You're taking the emotion, you're understanding and validating you have every right to feel that way. But instead of exploding and reacting onto society and punishing yourself and bringing shame and making you feel all these other emotions that you don't need to, you're forgiving, letting go, and using that anger to channel into something that's going to better you, that's going to drive you into your purpose, and that's going to help all of those people along the way with a little message. Because if you have a heart like that and you're showing up to help yourself, you're always going to show up to help others because that's the person that you are. That's your soul. I am willing to see my sameness with others. This opens my awareness to oneness. When you understand that we are all one and the same, we are all a drop in the ocean. Together, we are the ocean. And when you understand that if it hurts me, it probably hurts somebody else, so why would I want to pass that on? I didn't like how it felt. But what do I do with all this energy that I have because I still feel wronged? I still feel this. Well, I've done the stand up for my boundaries. I've done this. Am I going to pack it down? No, I'm going to release it. I'm going to dance. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to create something. I'm going to research something. I'm going to channel and use all of that energy as gasoline, as fuel. And then when I get to the top of the mountain, wherever I is, as I understanding, I'm not holding this against anybody. I'm saying thank you for that energy. Thank you for what allowed me to feel that so I could use that and learn. Because no matter what that negative energy is, that shadow energy, that thing that people are ashamed of, that want to hide, that, don't want anybody to ever see about themselves, we all have the capacity to be our absolute worst self. Every human being on the planet. But we all also have the capacity to be our absolute most amazing self. So if we can take that shadow and learn, get curious, not punish ourselves, not shame ourselves or anyone else, just get curious. Channel that energy into something that's going to be creation. It's inspiring us. It's inspiring us to learn, grow, to teach, to become better. Become more close to our most authentic self. And in those moments, we allow that space for us, for others, and we come to a knowing that what we're doing, no matter what it may be, like what I'm doing now, is this my purpose for the rest of my life? Maybe not. Is it going to change as I go? Absolutely. Because we can't be stuck anywhere. We're learning so we can constantly be growing. When we stop learning, we stop living. Period. We need to be learning always. Welcome, Laura. Good morning. So it's right at the end, and I just wanted those affirmations. I'm going to cut the deck for one more. When I move my body, I feel empowered, cleansed, and strong. It doesn't matter how you channel the energy, and you may not channel the energy every single time, but it's about learning to take those energies, yes, validate them, but if you can just release them, and that's fine. You can release it and move forward, but you have no driving force, right? Like you are still going to be okay. You're still at a 0 point, and it just makes the climb a little harder. right? But when you take that and you use that energy to channel, to force you up, you're always learning, you're always growing, you're always being your highest best self, and you're using it. You don't have to release it. It's being automatically released as carbon dioxide, right? As the expel. It's being transmuted into something else. But now that negative energy that everybody's so worried and so fears, all those things that we have in us that we should be so ashamed about, they fear this energy. But when you channel that energy, you channel it. Okay? Just like a bow and arrow, you throw it, and all that energy is forcefully that way. That's what's going to happen to you. But now you know how to channel that into something, into your greatness, into your purpose, into how you're going to share and help others. And it becomes this just amazing feeling, because when you get there and you know you're there and you know you're in that space, that knowing and that calmness and that peace is unshakable. It's undeniable, and it is absolutely astounding what you can do from that space. It's pretty amazing. So I'm kind of going to end this because I just want to have one more affirmation. And just understand, you've walked through the dark to learn your own light. Walking in the shadows and sitting with the shadows and sitting with those crappy places of ourselves that we think are no good, those are our true power. Those are our strength. Those are our endurance. Those are what teach us and propel us forward. And when we understand that, we can take them, yes, validate them, yes, process them, yes, understand them. Then channel it into something so amazing that's going to force us into our greatness, and we're not even going to know how it happened. Because we just were taking baby steps. We were just getting curious, asking questions, doing something we love. That's what I'm trying to teach you. Like, we can do this, just little baby steps. Before you turn around, you're already halfway across the bridge going, wow, what the hell? Man, I'm on the other side. I'm in a whole nother town now. What happened? Because you kept showing up for yourself. You kept getting curious. You kept not punishing yourself. And you kept understanding that I can release this, yes. I can just let it go. And life is fine. It's okay. Or I can take all of this negative emotion, use it and channel it to better myself, to propel myself into that greatness. Don't ever, I believe this is my own personal truth, so I'm not going to judge anybody who says anything different. I don't believe in return to senders. I don't believe in magic in those keywords. Do I believe that it exists and that it's possible? I absolutely do. But what I'm saying is we all speak spells. When we speak into the world, language is speaking spells. Intention is speaking spells. So with your intention, would you rather, we're constantly manifesting, and you can see that in the things that happen around us every day. So would you rather use your voice for spells to do negativity and destruction and pain and suffering to people? Or would you rather speak greatness and love and kindness and learning and awareness? Because all of those things teach us how to be better people. So if you're going to speak it into the universe, speak your greatness. Speak everybody else's greatness. And if you don't know what that is, speak for the highest, best good of all. And the universe will take it over. The universe will handle it. You're learning, you're doing your part. It's 1-2-12-33, which, by the way, is 333, which is self-expression. Speak it out into the world. Okay, now you've walked through the dark to learn your light. Now that the light doesn't just soothe, it guides. And now that you understand your shadow and you love yourself through it and you validate it and you know how to process it and get curious, sitting in that medicine within from this 0 point, you know how to anchor out and step out in kindness and knowing, because you've already processed all that and you have the channel. It shows you what's yours, what isn't, and what's calling your name. What's the next step you got to take? What can you do to better yourself, to channel that energy, to support yourself even in those moments where you're not sure how to get through grief. There's so many emotions, and every single one of them are valid. They're not shameful. There's no reason to ever feel shame for any of them. It's learning how to take that and use it. Would you hurt somebody else? Would you hurt your friend that came to you upset? No. You're going to show them kindness and love because that's who you are. So why would you do it to yourself? Instead, how would you tell your friend how to channel that energy? How would you tell them how to use that or how to learn from it? How would you support them in helping them learn from it? You be that friend that you would be to somebody else. That's all it takes. You just show up, right? Get curious. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock. Divine timing. Thank you, Spirit. So, on the way out of this, I know it's a little long, but this was kind of a recap of each one coming up to this point. And that's why, because the next one is when that fire becomes creation. And that's my favorite part. That is my absolute favorite part, because that's when we really step out and we get to play and we get to see and experiment without judgment. What is that thing? We get to let our inner child go play and see what it is that we want to do and follow what brings us joy. And when you've lived a life of all this other crap and you didn't know how to do it, but now you know how to process and how to channel it, stepping out and finding that joy is a game. We go back to child's play and we can live that and we can be excited and we can know that even if we fail, we've learned something. We've bettered ourselves, and every step moving forward, we're winning. Because the universe isn't going to let us do anything but win. And even if a challenge comes in, we know how to handle it because we've processed the other things. So we don't have fear anymore. We step out boldly, excitedly, and knowing that at the end of this, no matter how it goes, we're going to overcome. We've already won. It's amazing. Welcome, Denise. So to end this out, the medicine within me is enough. I trust my own light to lead the way. This is an affirmation that we're going to say. And if you can say it as much as you can, especially when you're in chaos, especially when that anger creeps up and you can't figure out why. I trust my own light to lead the way. And then do something. An energy. I don't care if it's tapping your hand, tapping your forehead. Change the thought, change the movement, change the direction. If you can't get to the space where you can get curious right away, do anything to switch it out, because that changes your mind immediately. Just like that, changes. Change a movement, changes your mind. And then you can find a way to go back to it when you're ready. But when you understand these tools and you can pull them out of your belt every single time, you have already won. You can step out more fearlessly because you know you have the tool in your belt. That thing that would hinder you time and time and time again, it's not there anymore. Because you know you have all of the tools. And I'm hoping at the end of this, that's what I've been giving you. So, again, the medicine within me is enough. I trust my own light to lead the way. And then step forward boldly with kindness and with love. I hope this helped. And if you missed it and you want to go watch the replay, usually by the end of the day, I always have it on my YouTube at Creativity Guides Me. Also, if you want anything with this logo here, this is mine. So if you see it, it's my content that I made. And then also you can go to creativelyguided.ca. That's where I have my guided journals. And they're PDFs, so you can automatically download them, which is really helpful. Guided journals. I have a story. I have some artwork. I have my handmade teas. With Be Present rituals, all things that were hand created and handmade with love and attention. So if you want to go check it out, it's fantastic. It's really great in just creating those moments of space and time to be present and to be kind to ourselves, and to start understanding these practices. So the next one that I go live pretty much every day. I'm going to start the December action steps for my for all of the signs. I might start them on Monday, which would be, hold on, the 20th. No, I won't, because Monday will be the light, the fire that creates. That's the next one. So now that's where we get into the fun stuff. Hi, Richard. How are you? So I think on the 24th, Then I'll start the action steps for all of my signs for the month of December. We'll start going through those, which should be pretty good. And keep your eye out for the Fire That Creates coming up. There'll be 2 posts, regular, and then the live on the 3rd day. So I look forward to seeing you guys, and I hope this helped, even if just a little bit, for all those people out there. I love you, and have a great day.